Listen up. I'm Izuku Dragneel, son of the Dragon King, Acnologia, and the Scarlet Despair, Irene Belserion. I'm the last dragon of a dead world, and I'm all fired up to show you what happens when every Dragon Slayer magic combines into one. Fire, iron, lightning, sky, shadow, light, and poison. I've mastered them all. You think the villains of this world stand a chance? I'll burn through anyone who threatens the innocent. Let's do this.
Welcome, Legends, to Chronos Recom. I wrote this story myself, so if you have any suggestions or what-ifs you want to see, drop it in the comments below. Also, just wanted to let you know I've got a Patreon set up now for anyone who wants to support the channel directly. You can get early access to stories, submit direct fan requests, and get exclusive content. It's totally optional, but if you want to help keep these stories coming, check it out. Links in the description. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit that bell so you never miss an upload. Let's dive into this story.
The world was ending, not the world of heroes and villains, of quirks and mutations, of modern civilization and bustling cities. No, a different world entirely. A realm where magic flowed like water, where dragons soared through crimson skies, where enchantments shaped reality itself. And it was dying. Acnologia, the Dragon King of Magic, stood atop a crumbling mountain peak as reality itself tore apart around him. His black scales, each one harder than any metal known to existence, gleamed in the dying light of a sun that was blinking out of existence. Below him, entire continents fractured and dissolved into nothingness. The screams of millions being erased from existence echoed through the air before being swallowed by the void. Is it ready? His voice rumbled like an avalanche, carrying the weight of absolute power and unexpected desperation. Beside him, Irene Belserion, the Scarlet Despair, the mother of all Dragon Slayer magic, his mate and equal in power, knelt before a massive crystalline egg. Her crimson hair whipped around her as magical winds tore at the fabric of space itself. Blood dripped from her lips. Creating this egg had cost her nearly everything. Almost, she gasped, her hands glowing with enchantment magic so complex it would have driven any other mage insane to witness it. The grimoires are encoded. Every technique, every secret, every fragment of Dragon Slayer knowledge from both our bloodlines. Fire, iron, sky, lightning, white, shadow, poison, god, devil. All of it. When our child hatches, the knowledge will activate. Progressive mastery. Automatic adaptation. Acnologia looked down at the egg, their egg, and for the first time in centuries felt something other than the hunger for destruction. Love, fear, hope. Will there be enough magic in the new world? He asked. Irene smiled sadly. There is no magic in the world I've found, but our child won't need external magic. He'll be the magic, self-sustaining, eternal, perfect. The void was closing in. They had minutes at most. Acnologia placed one massive claw on the egg. His magic, the power that had let him consume and master every form of magic that existed, that had made him the undisputed king of all dragons, flowed into the crystalline shell. Irene's enchantments wove around his power, binding it, shaping it, transforming raw destructive force into potential for growth. Our son, Acnologia said quietly. The last dragon. The first dragon of a new world, Irene corrected. She stood, swaying, and pressed her hand against his. Together, they poured their very essences into the egg. Not just power, their souls, their memories, their love, their desperation, everything that made them who they were. The egg blazed with light. Irene's universe, one magic activated one final time, tearing open a rift between dimensions. Through the gap, they could see it. A world without magic. A world of different powers. A world that would never understand what was coming to it. He'll be alone, Acnologia said. He'll be strong, Irene replied. Strong enough to survive. Strong enough to thrive. Our legacy. Our love. The rift pulsed. The void was seconds away. Together they placed the egg into the dimensional tier. Acnologia's power shielded it. Irene's enchantments guided it. And as their world finally shattered into absolute nothingness, erasing them from existence, the egg vanished into another reality entirely. Their last thoughts were the same. Survive, our son. Live, become the dragon we know you can be. Then there was nothing. The magical world ceased to exist. Every dragon, every mage, every enchantment, every spell, gone. erased, as if they had never been, but the egg survived. The egg landed in a remote mountain range in what would later be known as Japan. It crashed into the peak of the highest mountain with enough force to shatter stone, but the crystalline shell didn't crack. It couldn't, not until the right moment. For years, it lay dormant, hidden, waiting. Inside, something was growing. Not a baby. The enchantments Irene had woven were too complex for that. A child, a consciousness. A dragon taking human form. The egg pulsed with energy that leaked into the world around it. Trees near it grew strange. Animals avoided the area instinctively, sensing something beyond their comprehension. And in the world below, humanity began to change. Children were born with strange abilities, mutations, powers that seemed to come from nowhere. They called them quirks. The world would never know the truth, that the first stirrings of superhuman ability coincided with the arrival of a dragon egg from a dead dimension. The connection was subtle, coincidental perhaps, but there nonetheless. And then 4 years before the UA entrance exam that would change everything, the egg hatched. The explosion could be seen from Tokyo. An entire mountain range, 5 peaks, each over 3,000 meters tall, simply ceased to exist. Not collapsed, not destroyed, vaporized. In an instant, rock and stone and earth were converted into a crater 20 kilometers wide. The shockwave shattered windows in towns 50 kilometers away. Seismographs across Japan registered it as a magnitude 8.9 earthquake. Emergency broadcasts went out. Heroes scrambled. Scientists panicked. In the center of the crater, a small figure stood. Izuku Dragneel opened his eyes for the first time. He looked human. A child, perhaps 4 or 5 years old, with wild green hair and bright green eyes. But those eyes held something ancient, something predatory, something utterly inhuman. Scales covered his small arms, crimson and black, already harder than steel. They faded as he breathed, his body instinctively taking full human form. He stood naked in the center of destruction, surrounded by the crystalline fragments of his egg, and there, scattered around him, were books, not normal books. Grimoires. Ancient, massive tomes bound in dragon hide and written in a language that had never existed in this world. Yet when Izuku looked at them, he understood every word perfectly. He picked up the first one. The cover read, in characters that blazed with flame, Fire Dragon Slayer Magic, the complete art. The moment his small hands touched it, knowledge flooded his mind. Not slowly, not gradually, instantly, completely. He knew every technique, every application, every secret of Fire Dragon Slayer magic as if he'd practiced it for 1,000 years. He dropped the book and picked up another. Iron Dragon Slayer Magic, Techniques of the Steel Dragon. Again, complete knowledge, instant mastery of the basics, understanding of the advanced techniques, instinctive grasp of how to develop and grow. More books. Sky Dragon Magic, Lightning Dragon Magic, White Dragon Magic, Shadow Dragon Magic, Poison Dragon Magic. 8 in total, each one containing the complete encyclopedia of a Dragon Slayer's art. And one final book, larger than the rest, The Dragon King's Legacy, Your Heritage, Our Son. This one didn't contain techniques. It contained a message, written in his mother's hand, explaining everything, who they were, what they'd done, why he existed, what he was. Izuku Dragneel sat in the center of a destroyed mountain range, reading the story of parents he would never meet, learning that he was the last dragon of a dead world, understanding that he was utterly, completely alone. He was 4 years old. He should have cried. Instead, he grinned. A wild, fierce grin that showed teeth already sharper than they should be. "I'm all fired up!" He shouted to the empty crater. Flames exploded from his mouth. His first fire dragon's roar, instinctive and uncontrolled, carving another gouge in the earth. Izuku laughed. It wasn't a child's laugh. It was a dragon's joy. For the next 8 years, he lived alone in the wilderness, mastering his power, growing stronger, becoming what his parents had intended, the perfect dragon slayer. The wilderness of northern Japan became Izuku's territory. He built no shelter. Dragons didn't need protection from the elements. He wore clothes only because the grimoire suggested humans did so, and he was technically human-shaped. Simple pants and a vest, both scorched and torn within days of fighting. Fighting what? Everything. Izuku's dragon instincts drove him to test himself constantly. He fought bears and won before he was 6. He fought entire packs of wolves and laughed as he scattered them with Fire Dragon's wing attack. When a villain with a strength enhancement quirk Stumbled into his territory, fleeing from heroes, Izuku broke every bone in the man's body with a single Iron Dragon's club. That was when he first tasted combat against something intelligent. The villain had begged, pleaded, promised to leave and never return. Izuku had tilted his head, confused. Why would he let prey escape? Fire Dragon's iron fist had reduced the villain to ashes. No guilt, no remorse. The man had threatened him in his territory. Dragons didn't allow threats to live. He trained obsessively. Each grimoire had detailed every technique, but knowing and doing were different things. Fire Dragon Slayer magic came naturally. He could breathe flames before he could speak full sentences. Iron Dragon magic took longer, learning to convert his body to metal to create weapons from his limbs, to devour iron and steel to restore his power. By age 7, he'd mastered both completely. Sky Dragon magic was harder. It required finesse, control, understanding of healing, and support rather than pure destruction. He spent 2 years working through every technique, learning to manipulate air, to fly, to heal his own wounds, and eventually cure himself of the motion sickness that had plagued him initially. Lightning Dragon magic was pure power. Raw, destructive, overwhelming force. He loved it. Lightning Dragon's Roar became his favorite technique after Fire Dragon's Roar, watching electricity vaporize everything it touched. He ate constantly. Not human food, though he tried it occasionally and found it bland compared to his real diet. He ate fire. Any fire. Forest fires, which he started himself just to consume them. He ate metal, tearing apart abandoned cars and machinery he found in the wilderness, devouring steel and iron like candy. He ate lightning during storms, standing atop mountains with his mouth open, swallowing bolts from the sky. He even ate air itself, pure oxygen that made his Sky Dragon magic surge. His body grew, not normally. By age 12, he looked 15. His muscles were dense, dragon-forged, capable of punching through reinforced concrete like wet paper. His senses were beyond superhuman. He could smell a human from 10 kilometers away, hear heartbeats from a kilometer, see perfectly in absolute darkness. He was lonely, sometimes. The grimoires spoke of other dragons, of comrades and friends, of the fierce loyalty dragons showed to their chosen companions. But there was no one. He was the only one. Then one day, everything changed. Izuku was hunting when he smelled them. Lots of them. Moving through the forest at the base of his mountain, and something else. Fear. Screaming. Screaming. His dragon instincts kicked in immediately. He leaped from the cliff he'd been standing on, 300 meters straight down, and landed in a crouch that cratered the ground. He inhaled deeply, analyzing the scents. 30 humans running, 10 different humans chasing them. The chasers smelled like violence and greed. Villains. He'd learned that word from the one he'd killed years ago. Bad humans who hurt other humans. Prey. Izuku grinned and took off running. He found them in a clearing. A group of civilians being corralled by villains with various quirks. One had blades growing from his arms. Another was massive, muscles bulging. A third crackled with electricity. The villain with electricity noticed Izuku first. A wild-looking kid in torn pants and a scorched vest, barefoot, grinning like he'd found treasure. "The hell are you?" The electric villain snarled. "Hungry," Izuku said simply. Then he moved. Fire Dragon's iron fist caught the electric villain in the chest before the man could blink. Flames and kinetic force combined to launch the villain backward through 3 trees. His chest caved in, definitely dead. The clearing went silent. Izuku stretched, bones popping. "Come on! Fight me!" The massive villain roared and charged. Izuku met him head-on with Iron Dragon's club, his arm converting to a massive metal bludgeon that shattered the villain's enhanced skull like an egg. 2 dead in 3 seconds. The blade villain tried to run. Izuku's arm shot out, extending impossibly far with Iron Dragon's lance, demon logs. The metal spear punched through the villain's back and out his chest. 3 down. The remaining 7 villains scattered in panic. Izuku's grin widened. He loved this part. Fire Dragon's Roar. The blast of flames caught 4 of them, their screams cutting off as they were reduced to charred skeletons. The other 3 made it to the tree line before Lightning Dragon's breakdown fist struck from behind, electricity vaporizing them instantly. 10 villains dead in under 30 seconds. Izuku turned to the civilians, expecting gratitude or maybe challenge from the strong ones. Instead, they stared at him in absolute terror. "You're safe now," he said, confused by their fear. "Monster," one of them whispered. Izuku blinked. Monster? He'd saved them. He was the hero here. Before he could respond, more people arrived. Actual heroes this time. 3 pros, including someone in high-tech armor who was already recording everything with built-in cameras. "Stand down," the armored hero shouted. "You're under arrest for—" "He saved us," one of the braver civilians interrupted. "Those villains were going to kill us. He killed them first." The heroes looked at the carnage, at the 12-year-old kid standing calmly in the center of corpses and destruction. "What's your name, kid?" the lead hero asked carefully. "Izuku Dragneil." "What's your quirk?" "I don't have a quirk," Izuku said honestly. "I have magic. Dragon Slayer magic." The heroes exchanged glances. Magic wasn't real. Quirks were the only superhuman powers in existence. This kid was clearly delusional, but he'd also just killed 10 villains with abilities they'd never seen before. "We need to take you in," the lead hero said, "for evaluation. You killed people." "They were villains," Izuku said, confused. "Pray, why wouldn't I kill them?" "Because heroes don't kill." Izuku tilted his head. "Then what do you do with villains?" "Prison. Rehabilitation. That's stupid. Dead prey can't hurt anyone again." The standoff might have escalated, but then someone else arrived. A skeleton-thin man with sunken eyes and a weak smile that somehow still radiated warmth. All Might. The symbol of peace. Though this was his true form, depleted after a battle elsewhere. "Young man," Toshinori Yagi said gently, "my name is All Might. I'm the #1 hero. Can we talk?" Izuku's eyes widened. His dragon instincts were screaming. This man, this frail-looking skeleton, was powerful, really powerful, stronger than anything Izuku had ever sensed. "You're strong," Izuku said. "How strong?" All Might chuckled. "Strong enough, but strength isn't just about power, it's about how you use it. To beat enemies? To protect people." Izuku considered this. His grimoires had spoken of protection, of loyalty to comrades, of using strength to shield the weak. "I protected these people," Izuku said, gesturing at the civilians. "You did," All Might agreed, "but you also killed. In Hero Society, we have laws, rules, ways of doing things that don't involve taking lives. Even when they deserve it? Even then." Izuku thought about this. Finally, he shrugged. "Fine, I'll learn your rules, but I'm not going to prison." "We're not sending you to prison," Toshinori assured him. "We're going to help you, train you, teach you how to be a proper hero." "Can I fight strong opponents?" "Plenty of them." "I'm in." That simple conversation changed everything. The Hero Public Safety Commission didn't know what to do with Izuku Dragneil. He had no birth certificate, no records, no family. He'd appeared out of nowhere with abilities that defied classification. His DNA was human, but strange. Markers that scientists couldn't explain, cellular density beyond anything they'd seen, metabolism that should be impossible. They tested his quirk extensively. He demonstrated Fire Dragon's roar, melting through reinforced steel. He showed them Iron Dragon's scales, turning his skin metallic and tanking anti-tank rounds without a scratch. He flew using Sky Dragon magic, healing a deliberately inflicted wound in seconds. He called down lightning with a roar that shattered test equipment. 4 quirks, one scientist suggested. "No," another argued. "Look at the energy signatures. It's not biological mutation or emitter-type abilities. It's something else entirely." Izuku had rolled his eyes during these debates. "I told you. It's magic. Dragon Slayer magic. I'm a dragon in human form." They'd patted his head and continued their tests. Eventually, the commission gave up trying to understand him and focused on what to do with him. His power was undeniable. His instinct for combat was exceptional. His willingness to kill was problematic, but could theoretically be trained out of him. All Might vouched for him personally. Recommended he be enrolled in UA when he came of age. Nezu, the super-intelligent principal of UA, was fascinated. A being claiming to use magic in a world of quirks? How delightful. For 3 years, Izuku lived in a commission facility, technically a ward of the state. They taught him reading and writing. Japanese came easily since his grimoires auto-translated everything for his understanding. Math was boring. History was interesting only when it involved combat. Science was pointless because it tried to explain things magic already did better. But he learned Hero Society's rules. No killing unless absolutely necessary. Minimize collateral damage. Save civilians first. Work with other heroes. He hated most of it. But he followed the rules because it meant they'd let him fight strong opponents eventually, and he kept training. perfecting techniques, mastering combinations. Fire and lightning merged into devastating attacks. Iron and shadow, which he was starting to develop, created unpredictable offense. Sky Magic's support abilities improved his combat endurance exponentially. By age 15, Izuku Dragneel stood 180 centimeters tall with a lean, muscular build that looked carved from stone. His green hair remained wild and untamable. His eyes held the same predatory gleam they'd had since hatching. He wore simple clothes, black pants, a white vest, an orange scarf he'd found that reminded him of fire. He ate like 5 people combined. He laughed loudly. He challenged anyone who looked strong to fight him. He protected weaker people instinctively. He spoke casually and directly, never bothering with politeness or formality. The commission handlers found him exhausting. All Might found him concerning, but hopeful. The boy had a good heart under the dragon instincts. And then came the UA entrance exam. Izuku stood outside UA's massive gates, grinning wildly. Hundreds of other teenagers milled around, nervous or excited or confident. They all had quirks. They all thought they understood power. They had no idea what was about to happen. Welcome, examinees. Present Mike's voice boomed across the testing grounds. The voice hero stood on a stage, his enthusiasm cranked to maximum. Today, you'll face the UA practical exam. We've prepared a special test this year. A battle simulation against various robotic opponents in a full-scale urban environment. The crowd murmured. This was different from previous year's simple robot smashing. You'll be divided into groups of 50. Present Mike continued. Each group enters a different zone. Your goal? Accumulate points by defeating robots. Bigger robots, more points. You've got 10 minutes. Top scorers from each zone advance to the second round. Izuku's grin widened. Fighting robots didn't sound as fun as fighting people, but it'd do. Also, Present Mike added, this year we have special obstacles, environmental hazards, terrain challenges, and, he paused dramatically, guardian robots. Massive units that'll challenge even the strongest among you. Defeat one, and you automatically pass to round 2. Now that sounded interesting. The gates opened. Students rushed forward into their designated zones. Izuku walked. No need to rush when you were going to destroy everything anyway. His zone was a sprawling urban replica. Buildings, streets, alleyways, all filled with various robots. Other examinees were already engaging, using their quirks to smash through metal and circuitry. An explosion echoed from somewhere to Izuku's left. Someone with a powerful blast quirk. To his right, ice spread across the ground as another student froze multiple robots at once. Boring. A robot rolled toward Izuku. A simple 2-pointer with basic combat programming. It raised a metal fist. Izuku didn't move. The fist came down. Iron Dragon's scales activated automatically, his skin converting to dark metal. The robot's punch bounced off his forehead harmlessly. Weak, Izuku said. Fire Dragon's iron fist vaporized the robot's entire upper half. More robots converged. A 3-pointer with blade arms, 2 1-pointers with stun guns, a 5-pointer with missile launchers. Come on, Izuku shouted. All at once, they attacked in unison. Fire Dragon's roar. The blast of flames erupted from Izuku's mouth, a torrent of fire 20 meters wide that reduced all 4 robots to molten slag in an instant. The heat was so intense that windows in nearby buildings cracked. The pavement bubbled. Other examinees scattered, staring. What the hell is that quirk? Someone shouted. Izuku ignored them. He was just getting started. He leaped onto a building, 3 stories straight up in a single jump, and surveyed the battlefield. Robots everywhere. Maybe 200 in total. Students fighting individually, struggling with the stronger units. And there, at the far end of the zone, a massive shape was emerging from underground. The Guardian robot, 50 meters tall, bristling with weapons, built like a walking fortress. Perfect. Izuku jumped. Not down. Up. Sky Dragon's magic caught him, wind swirling around his body as he flew through the air toward the Guardian. Students below watched in awe as a teenager flew like a missile toward the massive robot. The Guardian's targeting systems locked on. Missile pods opened. Lasers charged. Izuku grinned. I'm all fired up. Lightning crackled around his right fist. Flames erupted around his left. He pulled both arms back as he rocketed toward the robot's head. Lightning Fire Dragon's Iron Fist! The impact was catastrophic. Fire and lightning merged with kinetic force and dragon strength. Izuku's combined punch struck the Guardian robot's head with enough force to generate a shockwave that shattered every window in a 3-block radius. The robot's head exploded, then its upper torso. Then the shockwave traveled down through its entire frame, tearing metal apart from the inside out. The Guardian collapsed, 50 meters of advanced robotics reduced to scrap in a single hit. Izuku landed on top of the wreckage, laughing. Too weak. Got anything stronger? The testing ground went silent. Every examinee stared. Every camera focused on him. In the observation room, every teacher leaned forward. What? Aizawa Shota muttered. Was that? Nezu's eyes gleamed with delight. That, Aizawa, is Izuku Dragneel, the boy All Might recommended. Fascinating, isn't he? He just destroyed the Guardian robot we specifically built to be nearly indestructible. Yes, in one hit, magnificent. On the testing ground, Present Mike's voice crackled over the speakers. Well, that's definitely a pass. But you've still got 8 minutes left, examinee. Show us what else you've got. Izuku's grin turned feral. He raised both hands to the sky. Lightning Dragon's roar. Fire Dragon's roar. Iron Dragon's roar. He unleashed all three simultaneously. A spiraling column of fire, lightning, and metal shrapnel that carved a path of destruction through the entire testing ground. Robots by the dozen were caught in the blast, melting and exploding and disintegrating. Then he jumped down and started really fighting. Iron Dragon's sword extended from his arm, cutting through robots like paper. Fire Dragon's wing attack sent burning shockwaves that toppled buildings and scattered machines. Lightning Dragon's breakdown fist vaporized anything it touched. He moved like a force of nature, destroying everything in his path. Other examinees stopped fighting and just watched. Some in awe, others in terror. 5 minutes in, there were no robots left standing in his zone. Izuku stood in the center of a destroyed cityscape, surrounded by molten metal and scorched pavement, breathing normally and grinning. "Is that it?" he called out. In the observation room, Nezu pressed a button. "Let's see how he handles this," the principal said. The ground rumbled. From beneath the streets, emergency backup units emerged. 50 additional robots, all high-level combat models reserved for special tests. Izuku's eyes lit up. Now we're talking. What followed wasn't a fight, it was a massacre. He didn't use simple techniques anymore. He went all out. Crimson Lotus, Fire Dragon's fist. His fists moved so fast they became invisible, each punch releasing an explosion of flame. 20 robots were destroyed in as many seconds. Lightning Dragon's heavenward halberd. Lightning formed a massive spear in his hands that he hurled through 10 robots at once, the electricity jumping between them and frying their circuits. Iron Dragon's lance. Demon logs. Multiple metal spears extended from his arms, each one finding a target, piercing through armor like it was tissue paper. The remaining robots never stood a chance. When the timer hit 0, Izuku was the only person standing in his zone. Every single robot was destroyed. The urban replica looked like a war zone. Buildings collapsed, streets cratered, fires burning everywhere. And Izuku stood in the center of it all, laughing. "That was awesome," he shouted. "Let's do it again." Present Mike's voice was slightly odd. Right. Well, testing is over. All examinees, please proceed to the exit." Walk the gate, other students gave him a wide berth. Some looked at him with admiration, others with fear. A few with calculation, already thinking about how to defeat him. Izuku didn't care. He'd had fun. That was all that mattered. Outside the testing ground, several pro heroes were waiting. Among them was someone Izuku had never seen before. A tall, beautiful woman with blonde hair styled into horns and eyes that held an ancient quality. Ryukyu, the Dragoon hero, ranked number 9 in Japan. Their eyes met, and something clicked. Izuku's dragon instincts screamed. This woman, she was like him. Not the same, but close. Dragon-blooded, dragon-formed. Kin in a way nothing else in this world was. Ryukyu felt it too. Her quirk, transformation, dragon let her become a Western-style dragon. She'd always felt alone in that, different from other heroes, more primal and less human than she let on. But this boy, this teenager who just demolished an entire testing ground, he felt like real dragon. Not a quirk imitation, the genuine article. "You," she said, approaching him. "Izuku Dragneel?" "Yeah?" Izuku tilted his head, studying her. "You smell like dragon." Several nearby people blinked. "Smell like what?" Ryukyu smiled, a real smile, not her practiced hero persona. "You can tell?" Yeah, you're not fully dragon, but you've got dragon blood, or magic, something. He stepped closer, inhaling. It's faint, but it's there. They stood there, staring at each other, while everyone else looked on in confusion. Finally, Ryukyu spoke. I'd like to talk with you sometime, after the exam results are announced. Would that be acceptable? Are you strong? Izuku asked bluntly. She blinked. I'm ranked number 9. That's not what I asked. Are you strong? Could you give me a good fight? Ryukyu's smile widened. Most people treated her with formal respect or professional courtesy. This boy treated her like a potential sparring partner. How refreshing. I could, she said, though I suspect you might be stronger. Only one way to find out, Izuku said enthusiastically. Let's fight! Perhaps after you're officially a UA student, Ryukyu said. I wouldn't want to accidentally injure an examinee before he's even enrolled. Izuku pouted. Fine, but you promised. We're gonna fight. It's a date, Ryukyu said, then blinked at her own word choice. Date? Why had she said date? Izuku didn't seem to notice the slip. He just grinned. Awesome. See you later then. He bounded off toward the commission handler who'd accompanied him, leaving Ryukyu standing there, feeling something she hadn't felt in years. Interest. Real, genuine interest in another person. How strange. How exciting. The second round of the entrance exam was scheduled for a week later. Only the top performers from each zone qualified, about 100 students total out of the thousands who'd taken the initial test. Izuku had scored the highest overall. His point total was literally incalculable since he destroyed every robot in his zone, including the Guardian. The second round was different. A tournament-style combat test. One-on-one fights. Quirk versus quirk, student versus student. Izuku was vibrating with excitement. Finally, real opponents. Humans who could fight back, adapt, challenge him. The fights were held in a massive stadium. Pro heroes watched from the stands, scouting potential students or interns. Media cameras caught everything. Izuku's first opponent was a boy with a hardening quirk, could turn his skin to stone. The fight lasted 3 seconds. Iron Dragon's club shattered the boy's hardened body like glass and sent him flying out of the ring unconscious. His second opponent had a fire-based quirk, could generate flames from his hands. Fire? Izuku laughed. I eat fire! The boy unleashed his biggest attack, a stream of flames hot enough to melt steel. Izuku opened his mouth and inhaled. The flames were sucked in, consumed, absorbed completely. Thanks for the snack, Izuku said, then burped. A small flame flickered out. Fire Dragon's Iron Fist ended that match instantly. His third opponent was smarter, a girl with a speed enhancement quirk who tried to use hit-and-run tactics. Izuku matched her speed with Sky Dragon's Vernier, enhancement magic that boosted his physical abilities beyond human limits. Then he caught her mid-run and gently placed her outside the ring. You're fast, he said, but not fast enough. By the fourth match, people were wondering if anyone could even challenge him. His fourth opponent was a massive boy with a strength multiplication quirk, could increase his physical power tenfold. The boy charged with a roar. Izuku stood still. They punched each other simultaneously. The boy's arm broke in 4 places. Izuku didn't even flinch. Is that all? Izuku asked, disappointed. I didn't even use magic for that, just dragon strength. The medical team carried the boy away. In the observation booth, Nezu watched with undisguised fascination. He's barely trying, the principal noted. Look at his stance, his breathing. He's treating this like a warm-up. All Might nodded. Young Dragneel is unique. I've never seen power like that in someone so young. The question is, Aizawa said, can we actually teach him anything? He's already stronger than most pros. Everyone can learn something, Nezu replied. Even dragons. Izuku's 5th match was against a boy with an ice quirk. A strong one, could freeze entire city blocks. The boy unleashed everything immediately, covering the entire arena in ice and frost, temperature dropping to far below 0. Izuku stood in the center of an ice prison, unaffected by the cold. Dragon scales, invisible to normal vision, but there nonetheless, protected him. Cool, he said, but watch this. He inhaled deeply. Fire Dragon's roar. The blast of flames melted through every bit of ice instantly, filling the arena with steam and superheated air. The ice user was caught in the heat wave and collapsed from heat exhaustion. Match over. The finals came down to Izuku and one other student, a quiet boy with a combination of quirks, fire and ice both. Incredibly powerful and skilled, his name was Shoto Todoroki. They faced each other across the arena. The crowd went silent. You're strong, Todoroki said. It was the first time he'd spoken all day. Stronger than anyone I've ever fought. You're pretty strong too, Izuku said, grinning. This might actually be fun. Don't hold back, Todoroki said, ice forming on his right side, heat shimmering on his left. I won't. Izuku promised. The match began. Todoroki opened with his signature move, a massive glacier that could freeze buildings, launched at point-blank range. Izuku punched it. Iron Dragon's iron fist. The glacier shattered. Todoroki followed up with fire from his left side, flames hot enough to vaporize steel. Izuku ate them. I told you, I eat fire. Then it was his turn. Fire Dragon's claw. His kick, wreathed in flames, caught Todoroki in the chest and sent him flying backward. The boy recovered midair, landing in a slide and immediately countering with a combination of fire and ice. Now, things got interesting. They exchanged blows at incredible speed. Todoroki's ice would form, Izuku would smash it. Todoroki's fire would blast, Izuku would consume it or match it with his own flames. The arena cracked and reformed, melted and froze as two powerhouses clashed. The crowd was on their feet. This was the kind of fight people paid to see. But Izuku was holding back, and Todoroki knew it. Fight me seriously, Todoroki demanded, breathing hard. You sure? Izuku asked. I've only been using fire and iron magic. I've got way more than that. Show me. Izuku's grin widened. All right, don't blame me if this hurts. Lightning crackled around his body. Wind swirled. His scales became briefly visible, crimson and black and silver all at once. Lightning Fire Dragon's roar. The combined blast was too fast for Todoroki to dodge, too powerful to block. It caught him full force. Fire and electricity combined into devastation. When the attack cleared, Todoroki was down, unconscious but alive, his clothes scorched and smoking. Izuku had won. The crowd erupted. The judges declared him the victor. Medical teams rushed to help Todoroki, and Izuku stood in the center of the arena, pumping his fist in the air. I'm all fired up, he roared. That moment, broadcast across Japan, captured by dozens of cameras, witnessed by thousands, was when the world truly learned about Izuku Dragneel, the dragon hero. The boy with no quirk but powers beyond understanding. The last dragon. UA's acceptance letters went out a week later. Izuku got his via the commission handler, who looked exhausted. You passed, the handler said unnecessarily. Top scores in both practical exams. Nezu wants you to start immediately. Awesome! Izuku tore open the envelope. Inside was a letter from All Might congratulating him and information about Class 1A. He'd be attending UA High School's Hero course, one of 20 students in Class 1A. The most prestigious hero academy in Japan. Izuku didn't care about prestige. He cared that UA promised challenging training exercises and combat simulations against top-tier threats. Finally, a place where he could fight strong opponents regularly. The day before school started, Izuku received an unexpected visitor at the commission facility, Ryukyu. She arrived in casual clothes, jeans and a simple blouse, instead of her hero costume. She looked younger like this, less intimidating, more approachable. I told you I wanted to talk, she said when the handlers led her into Izuku's room. His room was sparse, a bed he rarely used, a desk covered in grimoires he'd read 1,000 times, windows he kept open because enclosed spaces felt wrong. Yeah, Izuku said enthusiastically. Did you come to fight? Not today, Ryukyu said, smiling. Today I came to understand. You called me dragon-blooded. You said you could smell it. What did you mean? Izuku tilted his head. You really don't know? Know what? You're not just a person with a dragon quirk. You've got actual dragon essence, like real dragon blood in your veins. Diluted, way weaker than mine, but it's there. Ryukyu sat down slowly. How can you tell? I'm a dragon, Izuku said simply. Full dragon, just in human shape. I can sense other dragons or anything with dragon blood. You've got it. Don't know how or why, but you do. There are no dragons in this world, Ryukyu said carefully. There is now. Me. Izuku grinned. I'm the last dragon from a different world. Long story. But yeah, I'm literally a dragon, born from a dragon egg and everything. He expected disbelief, mockery, confusion. Instead, Ryukyu's eyes widened with something like wonder. A real dragon, she whispered. I always felt different. Even with my quirk, even when I transform, it felt like an imitation of something I could never quite reach. But you. I'm the real thing. Izuku confirmed. They stared at each other. Something passed between them. Recognition, understanding, a connection neither fully comprehended but both felt instinctively. Ryukyu spoke first. When you transform into your dragon form, what do you look like? Don't have a separate form, Izuku explained. I'm always a dragon. This human shape is just my default, but I can show you the scales if you want. He held out his arm. Concentrated. Crimson scales erupted across his skin, harder than diamond, gleaming like metal and fire combined. Ryukyu reached out tentatively, then touched the scales. They were warm, alive, real. Beautiful, she murmured. Functional, Izuku corrected. Can't be cut, can't be burned, can't be broken. Dragon scales are the best armor. Can I show you mine? Ryukyu asked. You can transform here? She smiled. Not fully, but partially. She stood back and activated her quirk. Her body grew, muscles expanding, skin shifting. Dragon wings sprouted from her back, Western style, membrane and bone, golden scaled and powerful. Her face elongated slightly, becoming more reptilian. Her hands grew claws. She stopped at about 70% transformation, enough to show her dragon nature without destroying the room. Izuku's eyes went wide. Whoa, you look awesome! Ryukyu blinked. Most people found her dragon form intimidating or monstrous. This boy called it awesome. You think so? Yeah! You're like a proper Western dragon. I've never seen one in person before. All the dragons I know about from my books were different types. He walked around her, examining her form with undisguised interest. Can you breathe fire? No, my quirk doesn't give me that ability. Want me to teach you? I know fire dragon magic. Could probably work with your dragon form. Ryukyu's heart skipped. You'd teach me? Sure, you're part dragon. You should be able to use dragon abilities. He paused. Though it might take a while, Dragon Slayer magic is pretty complex. I'd like that, Ryukyu said softly. She transformed back to human, her wings folding away, her body shrinking. Thank you. For what? For treating me like a dragon instead of a quirk user. Izuku tilted his head. But you are a dragon. Sort of. Dragon blood at least. Why would I treat you as anything else? That simple acceptance, being acknowledged as something she'd always felt but never been able to prove, touched something deep in Ryukyu. She'd come here out of curiosity and professional interest. She was leaving with something far more meaningful. A connection. A teacher, perhaps. Maybe even a friend. Or possibly, her mind whispered, something more. She pushed that thought away. He was 15. She was 23. It would be inappropriate, but the thought lingered nonetheless. Izuku's first day at UA was chaotic. He arrived early, found his classroom, Class 1A, and took a seat by the window. Other students filed in, chatting nervously or excitedly. He recognized a few from the entrance exam. Todoroki, who nodded at him respectfully, a spiky-haired blonde who glared at everyone, a girl with frog-like features who looked friendly, a boy with tape dispenser elbows, and someone he didn't expect, a girl with pink skin and horns who immediately bounced over to him. You're Dragneel, right? The one who destroyed everything in the exam? That was so cool. I'm Mina Ashido. My quirk is acid. Izuku blinked at her enthusiasm. Hi? More introductions followed. Denki Kaminari with his electrification quirk, who Izuku immediately wanted to spar with. Eijiro Kirishima with his hardening quirk, who reminded Izuku a bit of himself. Same enthusiastic energy. Ochako Uraraka with zero gravity, who seemed sweet but determined, and then the blonde one approached. Dragneel, he said, not asked, stated. I'm Katsuki Bakugo. I'm going to be number 1. You got lucky in the exam. Izuku looked at him. His dragon instincts analyzed Bakugo in an instant. Strong quirk, explosive power, aggressive personality, alpha tendencies, prey trying to establish dominance. Okay, Izuku said, turning back to the window. Bakugo's eye twitched. Okay, that's it? Aren't you going to challenge me or something? Why would I? You're not worth fighting yet. The classroom went silent. Bakugo's hands sparked with small explosions. What did you say? You're weak, Izuku said simply, not even looking at him. I could beat you with one hand, maybe one finger. Fighting you would be boring. Bakugo lunged. Izuku didn't move. A cloth wrapped around Bakugo midair, yanking him backward. Every student jumped. A man in a sleeping bag had appeared at the doorway. Greasy hair, tired eyes, an expression of perpetual exhaustion. Fighting before class even starts, Aizawa Shoto drawled. Expulsion-worthy behavior. He insulted me, Bakugo protested. He stated a fact, Aizawa said. Dragneel could indeed beat you with one finger. I watched his entrance exam. Now sit down before I expel you for real. Bakugo sat, fuming. Aizawa crawled out of his sleeping bag and stood. I'm Shota Aizawa, your homeroom teacher. First thing you need to know about UA, we're not like normal schools. If you're not willing to push beyond your limits, you'll be expelled. He pulled out a tablet. Today we're doing a quirk assessment test. You'll use your quirks in various physical exercises. Whoever places last overall is expelled immediately. The class protested. Aizawa's eyes glowed red. I have expulsion authority. This is your reality. Deal with it. The tests began: 50-meter dash, grip strength, long jump, repeated side steps, ball throw, various exercises designed to showcase quirk abilities. Izuku dominated every single one. 50-meter dash, 0.3 seconds. He used Sky Dragon's Vernier to enhance his speed to near supersonic levels. Grip strength, 500 kilograms. Iron Dragon scales on his hand while squeezing. Long jump, 200 meters. He just flew with Sky Dragon magic. Ball throw, the ball left Earth's atmosphere. He used Lightning Fire Dragon's Iron Fist to launch it at escape velocity. Aizawa watched with his quirk activated, trying to erase whatever was giving Izuku these abilities. Nothing happened. Izuku's magic continued unaffected. What's your quirk called? Aizawa asked. Don't have a quirk, Izuku said. I use Dragon Slayer magic. Magic isn't real. Then how am I doing this? Izuku shot a small fire dragon's roar into the air. Aizawa's eye twitched. His quirk, Erasure, worked by stopping the quirk factor in someone's DNA from activating. But this kid didn't seem to have a quirk factor. He had something else entirely. We'll discuss this later. Aizawa said. The tests continued. Unsurprisingly, Izuku placed first overall. By a massive margin, Bakugo placed second, fuming the entire time. The student in last place was expelled on the spot. Harsh, Kaminari muttered. Necessary, Aizawa said. Heroes face life and death. If you can't handle expulsion pressure, you can't handle villain pressure. Dismissed. As the class filed out, Aizawa pulled Izuku aside. Tomorrow we have combat training, the teacher said. All Might is overseeing it. Try not to kill anyone. I know the rules, Izuku said. No killing unless necessary. I won't kill classmates. Unless necessary? Aizawa repeated slowly. If they try to actually kill me first, Izuku clarified, then it's self-defense. Your classmates won't try to kill you. Then I won't kill them. Simple. Aizawa stared at this teenager who spoke about killing as casually as others discussed lunch. We need to have a long talk about appropriate hero behavior, Aizawa said. Later, Izuku said, I'm hungry. Gonna go eat. He left before Aizawa could stop him. The teacher sighed. This was going to be a long year. The combat training the next day was exactly what Izuku had been waiting for. All Might, in his full muscular form, radiating power and charisma, announced the exercise. Heroes versus villains. You'll be split into teams. Heroes must capture the villains or secure the objective. Villains must defend until time runs out or defeat the heroes. Costumes on. Meet in Training Ground Beta in 20 minutes. Izuku's hero costume was simple. Black pants reinforced with dragon scales, a white vest that could withstand his own techniques, his orange scarf, which he'd grown attached to. No armor, he was the armor. The teams were announced. Izuku was paired with Uraraka as heroes. Their villains were Bakugo and a boy named Ida with a speed quirk. Bakugo grinned viciously when he saw the matchup. Finally, a chance to prove himself against Dragneel. The exercise began. Bakugo and Ida guarded a fake bomb in a multi-story building. Izuku and Uraraka were the attacking heroes. What's the plan? Uraraka asked nervously. I walk in the front door, beat them up, secure the objective, Izuku said. That's not much of a plan. Don't need a complex plan when you're way stronger than the enemy. Izuku walked through the front door. Bakugo was waiting on the second floor. Explosions primed. Finally, Bakugo shouted. Let's see if you're as tough as... Fire Dragon's roar. The blast of flames filled the entire hallway, forcing Bakugo to dodge desperately. His explosions let him propel himself aside, but the heat singed his costume. What the hell? Bakugo fired back with his biggest explosion yet. AP shot autocannon, rapid-fire explosive blasts. Izuku walked through them. Iron Dragon's scales absorbed the impacts harmlessly. My turn, Izuku said. Fire Dragon's Iron Fist. Bakugo tried to block. The punch went through his guard and sent him flying through 3 walls into the next building over. Bakugo is down, All Might's voice announced over the speakers. Ida, hearing this, abandoned the objective and rushed to attack Izuku himself. His Recipro Burst gave him incredible speed, not enough. Izuku caught Ida's kick casually. You're fast, but not faster than me when I'm serious. Sky Dragon's Vernier activated. Izuku's speed doubled, tripled. He moved faster than Ida could track and tapped him on the forehead, gently. Ida still flew backward and crashed into a wall, unconscious. 30 seconds. The entire fight took 30 seconds. Uraraka just stared. Objective secured, Izuku said, walking to the fake bomb and touching it. Hiro team wins. All Might announced, sounding impressed and concerned in equal measure. The remaining matches continued, but everyone was distracted. They just watched Izuku casually demolish two strong opponents without even trying. After class, All Might pulled Izuku aside. Young Dragneel, the symbol of peace, said seriously, "You're holding back." "Yeah," Izuku admitted. "If I used my full power, I'd destroy the building, maybe the whole training ground." "Can you show me your full power?" Izuku considered. "You want to see Dragon Force? If that's your maximum, yes." They went to an isolated training ground. Just the two of them. All Might wanted to understand what he was dealing with. "Ready?" Izuku asked. All Might nodded, bracing himself. Izuku closed his eyes, concentrated, drew on the power sleeping in his draconic core, the accumulated magic of two Dragon Kings, the legacy of a dead world, the strength of every Dragon Slayer who'd ever existed. His body began to change. Scales erupted across his skin, crimson and black and silver and gold, overlapping layers of dragon armor. His eyes became pure reptilian slits, glowing with multiple colors. Wings burst from his back, not the membrane wings of Western dragons, but the elemental wings of Eastern dragons, formed from solidified magic. His hair became wild, standing on end, crackling with energy. Power radiated from him in visible waves. The ground cracked, the air itself shimmered. The temperature spiked and dropped simultaneously as fire and ice magic warred in his aura. All Might took a step back to spite himself. His instincts, honed through decades of fighting the strongest villains, screamed danger. "This," Izuku said, his voice layered with draconic resonance, "is Dragon Force, my full power state." He demonstrated. A casual fire dragon's roar carved a canyon 100 meters long. A simple punch created a shockwave that leveled trees a kilometer away. He flew at speeds that broke the sound barrier without effort. Then he powered down, the scales receding, the wings vanishing, his appearance returning to normal. "That's incredible," All Might said, "and terrifying. Young Dragneel, you could be the strongest hero in Japan right now." "Maybe," Izuku said, "but I still want to get stronger. There's more Dragon Slayer magic I haven't mastered yet. White Dragon, Shadow Dragon, Poison Dragon, God Dragon, Devil Dragon, lots more." "You're not at your peak?" "Not even close," All Might laughed. Not his usual boisterous laugh, but a genuine sound of amazement. "Young Dragneel, I think you might surpass even me one day." "Perhaps you already have," Izuku grinned. "Then fight me for real sometime. I want to see how strong the symbol of peace really is." "Perhaps," All Might said, "when you're a bit older and I can fight you without worrying about accidentally killing a student." They walked back toward the school, mentor and student, though neither was quite sure who was which. 2 weeks into the semester, everything changed. The incident that would later be called the USJ attack began as a routine training exercise. Class 1A was transported to the Unforeseen Simulation Joint, a massive facility with different disaster zones for rescue training. All Might was supposed to be there, but he'd depleted his time limit earlier and couldn't transform. 13, the space hero, was leading the instruction when it happened. A portal of black mist opened in the central plaza. Figures emerged, dozens of them. Villains, all different shapes and sizes and quirks. And at the center, a man made of mist and a creature that made Izuku's dragon instincts scream warnings. The Mist Man spoke. "Hello, students of UA. We are the League of Villains. We've come to kill All Might. Where is he?" 13 moved to protect the students. Aizawa activated his quirk, preparing to fight. Izuku stepped forward. "All Might's not here," Izuku said. "But I am." The Mist Man, who introduced himself as Kurogiri, laughed. "A student? How amusing. Nomu, dispose of him." The creature called Nomu moved. It was fast, incredibly fast. It crossed 50 meters in under a second, massive fist already swinging toward Izuku's head. Izuku didn't dodge. The punch connected. Izuku's head snapped to the side from the impact. Then he looked back at Nomu and grinned. "That actually hurt a little. You're strong." His classmates stared in shock. That punch should have killed him, should have exploded his head like a watermelon. Instead, he was smiling. "My turn," Izuku said. Fire Dragon's Iron Fist caught Nomu in the stomach and sent the creature flying backward through a building. Kurogiri's mist form wavered in surprise. Impossible. Nomu was designed to fight All Might. That student just... I'm not a normal student, Izuku interrupted. He cracked his knuckles. I'm a dragon, and you villains just made a really big mistake. What followed wasn't a battle, it was an execution. Izuku moved through the villains like a force of nature. Fire Dragon's roar incinerated a dozen at once. Lightning Dragon's breakdown fist vaporized anyone it touched. Iron Dragon's sword cut through quirks and bodies with equal ease. The villains scattered in panic. They'd come prepared to fight All Might, the #1 hero. They weren't prepared for a dragon. Nomu recovered and attacked again. This time, Izuku met it head-on. They exchanged blows at incredible speed. Nomu had multiple quirks: shock absorption, super regeneration, enhanced strength. It was built to withstand and overpower All Might. Izuku didn't care. Iron Dragon's lance demon logs. Multiple metal spears erupted from his arms, piercing through Nomu's body. The creature's regeneration kicked in immediately, healing the wounds. You can regenerate? Cool, let's see how much you can heal. Izuku grabbed Nomu's head with both hands. Flames erupted from his palms, not external fire but internal heat, cooking the creature's brain from the inside out. Nomu screamed. Its regeneration couldn't keep up with the constant damage. Crimson Lotus. Fire Dragon's fist. Izuku's fists moved faster than sight, each punch releasing an explosion of flame. 20 hits, 50, 100, all within 3 seconds. When he stopped, Nomu was a charred corpse that collapsed in pieces. Kurogiri tried to portal away. Sky Dragon's roar, a blast of pure wind, disrupted his mist form and forced him into solidity. Iron Dragon's club smashed him unconscious. The remaining villains who hadn't already fled surrendered or were knocked out. The entire fight lasted less than 5 minutes. When pro heroes finally arrived, All Might in his deflated form, along with several others, they found Class 1A safe, Aizawa injured but alive, and Izuku standing calmly in the center of unconscious or dead villains. What happened here? All Might demanded. Villains attacked, Izuku said. I defended my classmates. Some of the villains are dead. They tried to kill us first, so it's self-defense. All Might looked around at the carnage. At least 20 villains were definitely dead, burned or electrocuted or impaled. Others were unconscious but alive. Young Dragneel, All Might said carefully, we need to discuss your methods. They were going to kill people, Izuku said firmly. I stopped them permanently. That's what dragons do. We protect our territory and eliminate threats. Before All Might could respond, someone else arrived. Mirko, the rabbit hero, ranked number 5 in Japan. She'd been nearby when the alert went out and arrived looking for a fight. Instead, she found a 15-year-old kid surrounded by defeated villains and radiating battle lust that made her own blood sing. You, she said, pointing at Izuku. Did you do this? Yeah, Izuku said. By yourself? Yeah. How strong are you? Izuku grinned. Want to find out? Mirko's own grin matched his. Hell yes. Later, All Might interrupted. Mirko, these are students. Dragneel, we need to secure the area and... Later, Mirko agreed, not taking her eyes off Izuku. But kid, we're sparring. Soon. Deal, Izuku said enthusiastically. As they cleared the USJ, Aizawa pulled Izuku aside. You killed people today, the teacher said quietly. Villains who were trying to kill us, Izuku corrected. There will be consequences, investigations. The Hiro Public Safety Commission doesn't take killing lightly, even in self-defense. Let them investigate, Izuku said. I protected my classmates. I'd do it again. Aizawa sighed. This kid was going to give him gray hair before the semester ended. The investigation took 3 days. Multiple pro heroes testified. All of Class 1A gave statements. Video footage from the USJ was analyzed frame by frame. The conclusion. Izuku had acted in defense of himself and his classmates against villains who demonstrated lethal intent. The deaths were ruled justified. The commission wasn't happy about it, but legally they couldn't punish him. What they could do was assign him extra supervision, more handlers, stricter guidelines. Izuku ignored most of it. What he couldn't ignore was the media attention. His name was everywhere. The Dragon Hero, they called him. The student who killed dozens of villains. UA's most dangerous student. Some people praised him, others condemned him. The hero community was split. Izuku didn't care about any of it. He cared that Mirko had kept her promise. 3 days after the USJ incident, she showed up at UA demanding to spar with him. Nezu, delighted by the chaos, approved it immediately. They met in Training Ground Gamma, a massive facility designed for large-scale combat exercises. Several pro heroes and all of Class 1A showed up to watch. Mirko stood across from Izuku, grinning like a predator. She wore her hero costume, revealing, practical, designed for maximum mobility. Her rabbit ears twitched with excitement. "Rules," she said. "No killing, no permanent injury, fight until one of us surrenders or can't continue. Everything else is fair game." "Sounds fun," Izuku said. "Begin," Nezu announced cheerfully. Mirko moved first. Her leg strength was incredible. She crossed the distance between them in a single leap, spinning kick already aimed at Izuku's head. Izuku blocked with Iron Dragon's scales. The impact created a shockwave that cracked the ground. "Nice," Izuku said. "My turn." Fire Dragon's Iron Fist. Mirko dodged, her rabbit instincts and combat experience letting her twist in midair. She countered with Lunafall, dropping from above with a devastating axe kick. Izuku caught her leg. "Got you!" He threw her, not gently, with full dragon strength. Mirko flew 300 meters before recovering, using her leg strength to launch herself off a building wall, back toward Izuku even faster than before. They clashed again, and again, and again. Mirko used every technique in her arsenal. Luna Tijeras, Luna Ring, Luna Arc. Her kicks could shatter steel. Her speed was phenomenal. Izuku matched her blow for blow, gradually increasing his own power. He added lightning dragon magic to his attacks, electricity making his strikes faster and more powerful. He used Sky Dragon's Vernier to match her speed. The watching heroes were amazed. Mirko was a top 5 hero, famous for her combat prowess, and this student was fighting her evenly. Then Izuku decided to get serious. Lightning Fire Dragon's Iron Fist! The combined attack, fire and lightning, merged with dragon strength, caught Mirko mid-kick. The explosion was massive. When the smoke cleared, Mirko was down, costume scorched, breathing hard but grinning wider than ever. "That was amazing," she said, standing despite her injuries. "Again, hit me again." "You sure?" Izuku asked. "You're hurt. I heal fast. Come on." They fought for another 10 minutes before Mirko finally admitted defeat, not because Izuku overpowered her, but because she literally ran out of stamina before he did. "You're insane," she said, breathing hard, covered in minor burns and bruises. "That was the best fight I've had in years." "Same," Izuku said enthusiastically. "We should do this every week." "Deal," Mirko agreed immediately. As medical staff checked her injuries, Mirko pulled Izuku aside. "Hey kid, how old are you again?" 15, she grimaced. "Right, too young. Damn. Too young for what?" "Nothing," Mirko said quickly. "Just, you're strong, really strong. And you fight with the same kind of joy I do. It's rare." "You're strong too," Izuku said. "Your kicks are awesome, and you don't hold back. I like that." Mirko felt something warm in her chest. This kid, this incredibly powerful, battle-crazy kid, appreciated her the way no one else did. Not for her hero rank or her PR image, but for her raw combat ability and fighting spirit. Dangerous. This feeling was dangerous. But she couldn't help smiling anyway. Over the next month, a pattern developed. Izuku dominated every class exercise. Combat training, rescue simulations, villain scenarios, he approached each with the same overwhelming force. His classmates grew accustomed to his power. Some, like Kirishima and Kaminari, befriended him easily. Others, like Bakugo, resented his strength but couldn't deny it. Todoroki became something close to a friend. They sparred regularly, with Izuku helping Todoroki master his fire side. "Your old man's an asshole if he made you hate half your power," Izuku had said bluntly. "Your fire is yours, not his. Use it however you want." Simple words, but they helped Todoroki more than any amount of counseling. Ryukyu visited weekly. She'd officially taken Izuku as her intern, though their relationship was evolving into something more complex. Teacher and student, yes, but also dragon and dragon-blooded. She was learning from him, not just combat techniques, but how to embrace her draconic nature. Mirko showed up every weekend for sparring. She claimed it was to keep her skills sharp. Everyone knew she just enjoyed fighting Izuku. The media called them the Dragon Trio, Izuku, Ryukyu, and Mirko. 3 powerhouses with draconic themes. Speculation about their relationships was constant. Izuku ignored it all. He trained, fought, ate, and slowly mastered more Dragon Slayer magic. White Dragon Slayer magic was progressing. Holy light that could purify and destroy. He was close to full mastery. Shadow Dragon Slayer magic was developing. Darkness that could hide and ambush. And then came the sports festival. The UA Sports Festival was the biggest hero event of the year. Millions watched. Scouts from every hero agency attended. It was a chance for students to showcase their abilities to the world. For Izuku, it was just another opportunity to fight strong opponents. The festival had 3 rounds: the obstacle race, the cavalry battle, and the tournament. Izuku won the obstacle race in 30 seconds. He flew over the entire course with Sky Dragon magic, while everyone else struggled with robots and ice and other obstacles. The cavalry battle was slightly more interesting. He was supposed to team up with other students, but he just carried all 3 of his teammates while fighting off every other team simultaneously. His team won with maximum points. Then came the tournament, one-on-one fights broadcast live to the entire nation. Izuku's first match was against a student with a sleep quirk. The match lasted 5 seconds. The student fell asleep mid-sentence from the pressure of Izuku's dragon aura alone. His second match was against a girl with a size manipulation quirk. She grew to giant size. Izuku knocked her out with a single fire dragon's iron fist before she could even attack. His third match was against Kirishima, his friend from class. They actually had a decent fight. Kirishima's hardening was impressive, and he withstood several hits before finally going down to a lightning dragon's roar. The semifinals pitted Izuku against Todoroki again, their rematch from the entrance exam. This time, Todoroki used both his fire and ice from the start. The fight was spectacular. Flames and frost, ice walls and fire blasts, with Izuku adding lightning and wind to the mix. The arena was destroyed within 2 minutes. Izuku won with a Crimson Lotus exploding lightning blade, a combination technique that shattered all of Todoroki's defenses and knocked him unconscious. The finals were Izuku versus Bakugo. Bakugo had improved significantly since their first encounter. His explosions were more controlled, more powerful. He'd been training obsessively, determined to prove himself. It wasn't enough. The match began with Bakugo launching his strongest attack, Howitzer Impact, a massive explosion that could level a building. Izuku ate it, literally consumed the explosion like food, absorbing the heat and force. "Thanks for the snack," Izuku said. Bakugo's eye twitched. He attacked with everything he had. AP shot, stun grenade, explosion barrage, techniques he developed specifically to fight Izuku. Izuku blocked them all with Iron Dragon's scales. Then he countered. Fire Dragon's roar. The blast of flames forced Bakugo to dodge desperately. Before he could recover, Izuku was there. Lightning Dragon's jaw. Electricity surged. Bakugo convulsed and collapsed unconscious. Izuku had won the sports festival without taking a single hit. The crowd erupted. The media went crazy. Pro heroes took note. And in the stands, both Ryukyu and Mirko watched with undisguised interest. "He's incredible," Ryukyu murmured. "He's mine," Mirko said. They looked at each other. "Excuse me?" Ryukyu said carefully. "I saw him first," Mirko said. "Well, second technically, but I claimed him first. We spar every week." "I've been teaching him about his draconic nature," Ryukyu countered. "He trusts me, respects me. He respects me too, admires my strength." They stared at each other, 2 top 10 heroes suddenly locked in an unspoken competition. Below, Izuku stood victorious, completely unaware of the brewing conflict. All Might approached him with the winner's medal. "Young Dragneel," the symbol of peace said, "You've done it. You're the champion." "It was fun," Izuku said, "but I wish there'd been stronger opponents. Nobody really challenged me." "Perhaps in time," All Might said. "You're only 15. There's still much to learn." "Yeah," Izuku agreed. "I still need to master White Dragon, Shadow Dragon, Poison Dragon, lots more." All Might chuckled. "Ambitious. I like it." As Izuku left the arena, he was intercepted by both Ryukyu and Mirko. "Congratulations," Ryukyu said warmly. "That was an impressive performance. Totally awesome," Mirko agreed. "Hey, let's celebrate. You, me, some sparring. We should have a proper dinner," Ryukyu suggested. "Discuss your development, or we could just fight and then eat," Mirko countered. They glared at each other. Izuku looked between them, confused. "Can't we do both? Fight, then eat together?" Both women paused. That actually sounded reasonable. "Fine," they said simultaneously. And so the 3 of them, the Dragon Hero student, the Dragon Hero Pro, and the Rabbit Hero Pro, went out together. The media would have a field day with the photos. 1 week after the sports festival, everything changed again. The League of Villains had been quiet since the USJ incident. Too quiet. Tamura Shigaraki, the League's leader, had been planning, studying, adapting. He'd learned that brute force wouldn't work against UA, not with students like Izuku Dragneel around. So he tried a different approach: kidnapping. The target wasn't Izuku. Shigaraki knew that was impossible. Instead, they went after someone close to him, someone the Dragon Boy might actually care about. They chose wrong. The Vanguard Action Squad, a group of powerful villains recruited specifically for this mission, attacked a training camp where Class 1A was staying. Their goal: capture Bakugo, use him as bait to draw out Izuku, then capture Izuku for All for One. The plan fell apart in the first 30 seconds. Izuku sensed the villains the moment they entered his territory. His dragon instinct screamed warnings, threats, prey. He moved before the villains even reached the students. The first villain he encountered was Muscular, a serial killer with a strength enhancement quirk who'd murdered dozens of people. Well, Muscular grinned. A kid. Perfect. I love killing kids. Fire Dragon's Iron Fist. Muscular's enhanced muscles exploded from the impact. His organs ruptured. He died before he hit the ground. The second villain was Moonfish, a twisted murderer with blade tooth quirk. Shadow Dragon's Roar. Darkness consumed Moonfish, cutting through his blades like they were paper, severing his head from his body. The third villain tried to run. Mustard, a teenager with a poison gas quirk. Sky Dragon's Roar. The wind blast dispersed his gas and slammed him into a tree hard enough to shatter his spine. One by one, the Vanguard Action Squad fell. Magni decapitated by Iron Dragon's sword. Spinner burned alive by Fire Dragon's flames. Mr. Compress crushed by Iron Dragon's club. The only villain who escaped was Kurogiri, and only because he opened a portal the instant he sensed what was happening and fled. The entire attack lasted less than 5 minutes. 8 villains dead. 0 students harmed. When pro heroes arrived, they found Izuku standing calmly in the forest, surrounded by corpses. They tried to kidnap my classmates, Izuku said simply when questioned, so I killed them. The media storm was immediate and intense. UA student kills 8 villains. Dragon hero, savior, or murderer. The deadliest student in hero history. The Hero Public Safety Commission held an emergency meeting. Half wanted to arrest Izuku. Half wanted to recruit him. Nezu defended him brilliantly. Young Dragneel acted in defense of his classmates against known murderers who demonstrated lethal intent. Every death was justified. If we punish him for this, we're telling students they should let their classmates die rather than use lethal force against killers. The commission ultimately cleared him again, but the controversy remained. Some people loved him, the dragon hero who protected innocence without hesitation. Others feared him, a 15-year-old with the power and willingness to kill. Izuku didn't care either way. He'd protected his friends. That was all that mattered. The aftermath of the training camp attack changed things. All for One, the true leader of the League of Villains and Japan's greatest villain, was furious. 8 of his carefully recruited soldiers, dead. His plans for capturing Izuku, ruined. He decided to act personally. 3 weeks later, All for One attacked Kamino Ward. His goal: kill All Might, destroy the symbol of peace, and bring chaos to Japan. He didn't know Izuku was in the area. The battle between All Might and All for One was catastrophic. Buildings collapsed. Entire city blocks were destroyed. 2 titans of power clashing with everything they had. All Might was losing. All for One's accumulated quirks, his experience, his ruthlessness, they were overwhelming even the symbol of peace. Then Izuku arrived. He'd sensed the battle from kilometers away, felt All Might's power declining, rushed to help. "All Might!" Izuku shouted, landing next to the weakening hero. "Young Dragneel!" All Might gasped. "No! You need to evacuate. This villain is too powerful." "I'm not leaving you to die," Izuku said firmly. All for One laughed. "The famous dragon hero. How convenient. I can kill both of you at once." "Try it," Izuku said. Dragon Force activated instantly. Scales erupted across his body. Wings manifested. His power surged to maximum. All for One attacked with a combination of air pressure quirks, attacks that had nearly killed All Might. Izuku's Iron Dragon's scales absorbed the impact. He countered with Lightning Fire Dragon's Roar. The combined blast of flames and electricity was faster than All for One expected. It caught him partially, burning through several of his defensive quirks. "Interesting," All for One said. "You're not using quirks at all, are you?" "This is something else entirely." Dragon Slayer magic, Izuku confirmed, from a world your quirks can't touch. They fought. It was the first real challenge Izuku had faced since hatching. All for One had hundreds of quirks, decades of experience, tactical genius, and absolute ruthlessness. But Izuku had something All for One couldn't steal or copy: magic. Pure, fundamental magic that existed outside the quirk system entirely. Fire Dragon's roar was met with water quirks. Izuku switched to Lightning Dragon's attacks. All for One used insulation quirks. Izuku adapted with Iron Dragon techniques. All for One used intangibility quirks. Back and forth they went, each adapting to the other, each searching for an opening. All Might, recovering slightly, rejoined the battle. Together, he and Izuku pressed All for One. Crimson Lotus, Exploding Lightning Blade. Izuku roared, his ultimate technique combining fire, lightning, and dragon force. United States of Smash. All Might bellowed, his final technique burning away the last of his power. Both attacks struck All for One simultaneously. The explosion could be seen from space, a pillar of fire and lightning and pure force that vaporized everything in a 3-block radius. When the smoke cleared, All for One was down. Not dead. His regeneration quirks had saved him, but defeated. Unconscious. Captured. All Might stood victorious, smoke rising from his skeletal form as his power finally left him completely and permanently. Izuku knelt beside him. "You okay?" "I'm done," All Might said quietly. "That was my last fight, but we won, thanks to you." "We won together," Izuku corrected. As pro-heroes arrived to secure All for One and evacuate civilians, All Might looked at Izuku seriously. "Young Dragneel, I need to tell you something. I was going to pass my power to you. A quirk called One for All that can be transferred from person to person. But it won't work on me," Izuku finished. "Because I don't have a quirk factor, I have magic instead." "Exactly, so I gave it to another student. Young Mirio, from the 3rd year. He'll be the next symbol of peace." "Good," Izuku said. "He's strong. He'll do well." "And you?" All Might asked. "What will you be?" Izuku grinned. "I'll be the dragon hero, the strongest hero in the world. I'll protect people my way." All Might smiled. "I believe you will." The Kamino Ward battle changed Japan. All Might retired publicly, revealing his weakened form to the world, explaining that his power was gone. The symbol of peace was no more. Into that void stepped several heroes. Endeavor, the former number 2, became number 1 by default. Other top heroes moved up in rankings, and Izuku, still just a first-year student, became famous worldwide. The dragon hero who fought All for One, the student who saved All Might, the last dragon, Izuku Dragneel, he was offered early graduation. Offered immediate pro-hero status, offered everything. He turned it all down. He wanted to finish UA, wanted to keep learning, keep growing, keep mastering new Dragon Slayer magics, and he wanted to spend more time with the people who mattered. Ryukyu confessed her feelings 3 weeks after Kamino. They were training together, Izuku teaching her fire dragon techniques, helping her unlock her draconic potential. "Izuku," she said during a break, "I need to tell you something." "Yeah?" He looked at her curiously. "I'm attracted to you," she said directly. "Romantically. I know you're younger. I know it's inappropriate, but I can't deny how I feel anymore. You make me feel more dragon than I ever have. You understand me in ways no one else can. And I want to be with you." Izuku blinked. Romance? He hadn't really thought about that. His grimoires mentioned dragon mating, but he'd never experienced attraction himself. Until now. Looking at Ryukyu, strong, beautiful, dragon-blooded, someone who understood his nature, he felt something. Not just respect or friendship. Something more. "I like you too," he said. "You're strong, you're kind, you get what I am, and you smell nice." Ryukyu laughed. "I smell nice? Yeah, like dragon and sky and something sweet. It's good." She stepped closer. "Can I kiss you?" "Okay." Their first kiss was gentle, exploratory, her lips against his, soft and warm. When they parted, both were smiling. "This is probably going to cause problems," Ryukyu said. "Don't care," Izuku replied. "Good. Neither do I." Mirko found out 2 days later and immediately cornered Izuku. "So you're dating Ryukyu?" she demanded. "Yeah," Izuku said. "Why?" "Because I want in." "In what?" "The relationship, dumbass. I like you too. You're the only person who can match me in a fight, who loves fighting as much as I do, who doesn't care about proper hero behavior or media image or any of that shit. You're perfect for me. But I'm dating Ryukyu. So date both of us." Izuku tilted his head. "Is that allowed?" Who cares? We're heroes. We make our own rules. When Izuku brought this up with Ryukyu, expecting jealousy or anger, she just laughed. Mirko has good taste, she said. And honestly, I was expecting this. She's been circling you like prey for months. So, it's okay? If you want both of us and we're both willing, then yes. Dragons don't follow human relationship rules anyway. We take what we want and protect what's ours. And so began the strangest relationship in hero society. Izuku dragged Neil, 15-year-old student, dating both Ryukyu, the number 9 hero, and Mirko, the number 5 hero. The media went insane. The commission filed complaints. Other heroes gossiped endlessly. The three of them ignored it all. They trained together, fought together, ate together, and gradually, as weeks became months, built something real. 6 months after the Camino battle, Izuku stood on the roof of UA, looking out over the city. He'd mastered White Dragon Slayer magic completely. Holy light that could purify and heal and destroy evil. Shadow Dragon magic was at about 70%. He could use most techniques, but not the secret arts yet. Poison Dragon magic was developing. God Dragon magic was starting. Devil Dragon magic was barely touched. He was stronger than ever, faster, more skilled. But he was also more human than when he'd first hatched. He understood friendship now. Loyalty, love in his own way. He had people he cared about, his classmates, his teachers, Ryukyu, Mirko. He wasn't alone anymore. The door to the roof opened. Both Ryukyu and Mirko emerged, approaching him. Thinking about something deep? Mirko asked, wrapping an arm around his waist. Just remembering, Izuku said. When I first hatched, I was completely alone, the only dragon in a world without magic. You're still the only dragon, Ryukyu said, taking his other side. But you're not alone anymore. Yeah, Izuku agreed, pulling them both close. I've got you too, and my friends. And everyone at UA. Sappy, Mirko teased. True, Ryukyu corrected. They stood together watching the sunset, three of the strongest heroes in Japan enjoying a quiet moment. Below, the city moved on. Villains plotted, heroes patrolled. Life continued, and somewhere in the darkness, something stirred. New threats, stronger enemies, challenges that would push even Izuku to his limits. But that was a story for another day. For now, there was this moment, this peace, this connection. Izuku Dragneel, the last dragon of a dead world, had found his place in this new one, and he was just getting started. The weeks following the Camino Ward battle were strange for Izuku Dragneel. He defeated All for One alongside All Might. The symbol of peace had retired, revealing his weakened form to the world. Japan mourned the loss of their greatest hero while celebrating the capture of their greatest villain. And Izuku? He went back to class like nothing happened. You're weird, Dragneel, Kaminari said during lunch one day. You fought the biggest bad guy in Japan and you're just eating ramen? Yeah, Izuku said through a mouthful of noodles. Why wouldn't I? I'm hungry. Most people would be traumatized or something. I'm a dragon, Izuku said simply. We fight strong enemies. That's what we do. AFO was strong, so I fought him. Now he's in prison and I'm eating. What's the problem? Kirishima laughed, slapping Izuku's back. Man, you're so manly. No overthinking, just living. Todoroki, sitting across from them, spoke quietly. The Hero Public Safety Commission wants to talk to you again about the provisional license exam. Izuku groaned. That thing? I thought they canceled it because of the war stuff. They rescheduled it, Todoroki said. 2 weeks from now. We all have to take it. The provisional license exam was supposed to test students' ability to handle rescue situations and villain encounters in a controlled environment. For most hero students, it was a major challenge, a chance to prove they could handle real-world scenarios. For Izuku, it sounded boring. But Aizawa made it clear, you pass this exam, or you don't get to participate in work studies. And trust me, Dragneel, you want those work studies. Ryukyu and Mirko have both requested you. That got Izuku's attention. The exam took place at a massive testing facility, multiple zones designed to simulate different disaster scenarios. Hundreds of students from hero schools across Japan participated. Izuku arrived with Class 1A, immediately drawing stares and whispers. Everyone knew who he was now. The dragon hero who'd fought All for One, the student who'd killed dozens of villains, the boy with powers nobody understood. He ignored them all, stretching his arms and yawning. This better not be boring. The first phase was a rescue scenario. Examinees had to save civilians trapped in a collapsed building while dealing with simulated villains and hazards. Most students struggled with the complexity, managing multiple objectives while under pressure. Izuku finished in 90 seconds. He used White Dragon Slayer magic for the first time publicly. Holy light erupted from his body as he activated the power he'd been mastering for weeks. The magic felt different from his other elements, purifying rather than destructive, healing rather than harming. White Dragon's holy breath. Golden white light washed over the collapsed building. The technique didn't destroy, it reinforced. Unstable rubble stabilized. Dangerous debris became harmless. Trapped civilians found themselves in pockets of safety as the holy magic reshaped the disaster zone. Then Izuku flew through the building using Sky Dragon's vernier, pulling out every civilian in rapid succession. He healed minor injuries with Sky Dragon magic while using White Dragon's healing light for serious wounds. The examiners stared in shock. He'd completely trivialized their carefully designed scenario. Participant Izuku Dragneel, one announced over the intercom. You've completed the rescue phase with perfect scores in 90 seconds. Other students who'd been struggling for 15 minutes looked at him in disbelief. The second phase tested combat abilities against villain actors, professional heroes and support staff playing the role of criminals. The villains were supposed to test students' restraint and strategic thinking. Izuku knocked out all 20 villain actors in his zone in under 30 seconds, using precise strikes enhanced with White Dragon magic. Holy Light didn't just purify evil, it could render opponents unconscious without permanent harm, perfect for heroes who needed to subdue without killing. The third phase was interrupted. Real villains attacked the exam site. A group calling themselves the Purge Liberation Front, and remnants of villain organizations scattered after All for One's defeat. They'd chosen this moment thinking heroes would be distracted, students would be vulnerable. They chose wrong. Izuku sensed them the moment they entered the facility. His dragon instincts screamed warnings. Threats. Prey. Everyone get back, he said calmly to the other students. Dragneel, we should wait for... Todoroki started. I said get back. The villains burst into the exam area. 15 of them, all with dangerous quirks. Their leader, a man who could manipulate metal, laughed at the sight of hero students. Perfect, we'll kill UA's precious examinees and... White Dragon's roar. Holy light erupted from Izuku's mouth in a massive beam. The purifying magic was anathema to corrupted souls. It burned through the villains' defenses like they were paper. The beam vaporized the metal manipulator completely. 4 others caught in the blast screamed as holy fire consumed them, leaving nothing but ash. The remaining villains froze in terror. You made a mistake, Izuku said, his voice carrying draconic resonance. Holy light wreathed his body, making him look like an avenging angel. You threatened students, my friends. He moved. White Dragon's holy nova. Light exploded outward in all directions. The technique was designed to purify evil, and these villains who'd chosen to attack children were definitely evil. They died screaming as holy magic burned away their corrupted existence. When the light faded, Izuku stood alone in the center of a scorch mark, surrounded by ashes that had once been villains. He turned to the shocked students and examiners. Exam's over, right? I passed? The silence stretched for 3 full seconds before someone remembered to breathe. Izuku got his provisional license that day. Nobody questioned whether he deserved it. Later that evening, both Ryukyu and Mirko showed up at UA. They'd heard about the attack, about Izuku using a new power, about him killing more villains. They found him on the roof, watching the sunset. White Dragon magic, huh? Mirko said, landing beside him with a powerful jump. When'd you master that? Been practicing for a while, Izuku said. Wanted to surprise you both. Ryukyu sat on his other side, transforming partially to spread one wing over him protectively. You did well today. Saved everyone. Of course I did, Izuku said, grinning. I'm a dragon. Protecting people is what we do. Mirko punched his shoulder lightly. Cocky brat. I like it. They sat together, 3 powerful beings enjoying a quiet moment. The commission approved work studies, Ryukyu said after a while. You can intern with me and Mirko both if you want. We've coordinated our schedules. Izuku looked between them. Both of you, at the same time? We're not letting the other monopolize your time, Mirko said bluntly. If Ryukyu gets you, I get you too. Equal partnership. I'm okay with that, Ryukyu agreed. Something had shifted between the 3 of them over the past months. The professional boundaries had blurred. Ryukyu's confession, Mirko's declaration, Izuku's growing feelings for both. They hadn't defined what they were yet. But moments like this, sitting together, comfortable in each other's presence, suggested something was developing. "Sounds fun," Izuku said. "When do we start?" "Tomorrow," both women said simultaneously, then looked at each other and smiled. The work study with Ryukyu and Mirko officially began the next day. Their agencies had different styles. Ryukyu focused on rescue operations and organized hero work. Careful planning, strategic deployment, minimal collateral damage. Mirko preferred direct action, find villains, beat them up, ask questions later. Izuku loved both approaches for different reasons. With Ryukyu, he learned patience, strategy, how to use his overwhelming power precisely rather than just unleashing everything. She taught him to combine White Dragon magic with Sky Dragon healing. Holy Light could purify toxins and corruption, while Sky Magic repaired physical damage. Together, they could save people other heroes couldn't. They worked a disaster rescue in western Japan, a building collapse, with dozens trapped. Ryukyu transformed to her full dragon form, using her size and strength to stabilize the structure. Izuku flew through the rubble, using White Dragon's holy breath to create safe zones while pulling people out with Sky Dragon's vernier speed. They saved 43 people in 12 minutes. Afterward, as they rested on the agency roof, Ryukyu spoke softly. "You're becoming an incredible hero, Izuku. Not just powerful, compassionate." "My parents were heroes," Izuku said, thinking of Acnologia and Irene. "Even though they became monsters at the end, they started as protectors. I want to honor that part of them." Ryukyu moved closer, her hand finding his. "They'd be proud of you." Their first kiss happened that night. Gentle, tentative, her dragon blood calling to his dragon nature. When they parted, both knew something fundamental had changed. With Mirko, everything was combat. She took him on patrol through high-crime districts, actively seeking out villains to fight. "You need real combat experience," she said, bouncing on her powerful legs. "Not training, not simulations. Real fights where people are trying to kill you." "I've been in plenty of real fights," Izuku pointed out. "Not with me watching your back." They encountered a villain gang trying to rob a bank. 10 criminals with various quirks: strength enhancement, fire projection, metal manipulation, others. Mirko grinned. "Want to make it interesting? You use only Shadow Dragon magic. I'll handle any you miss." Izuku's eyes lit up. "Really? I just finished mastering it last week." "Show me what you've got, Dragon Boy." Izuku activated Shadow Dragon Slayer magic for the first time in real combat. Darkness erupted around his body, not the absence of light, but tangible shadow that moved like liquid. It felt different from his other elements. Sneaky, subtle, perfect for surprise attacks. The villains didn't even see him move. Shadow Dragon's waxwing flash. He merged with shadows, becoming one with darkness itself. In an instant, he appeared behind 3 villains. Shadow Dragon's slash. Blades of concentrated shadow cut through their defenses. Not lethal, Mirko had said to practice restraint, but devastating enough to knock them unconscious instantly. The remaining villains panicked, firing quirk attacks wildly. Izuku sank into shadows on the floor, completely intangible. Their attacks passed through harmless darkness. He emerged from a different shadow, already attacking. Shadow Dragon's crushing fang! His shadow-wrapped fist punched through a villain's stomach. The darkness didn't pierce flesh, but instead invaded the body, shutting down nerves and causing instant paralysis. 4 more villains down in 3 seconds. The last 3 tried to run. Shadow Dragon's twin fang! Twin blades of shadow shot from his hands, intercepting them. The techniques wrapped around their legs like serpents, dragging them back to Izuku's feet. Total combat time, 11 seconds. 10 villains neutralized, 0 injuries to civilians. Mirko whistled appreciatively. "Damn, kid, you're a natural with shadow magic." "It's fun," Izuku said, shadows still swirling around his body. "Totally different from fire or lightning. Sneaky instead of loud." "Sneaky doesn't suit your personality," Mirko teased. "You're too hot-headed for stealth. I can be sneaky when I want. Prove it. Tonight, try sneaking up on me during patrol." That became their game. Izuku using Shadow Dragon magic to ambush Mirko during hero work. She using her combat instincts and rabbit hearing to detect him. He succeeded twice. She caught him 11 times. Their relationship shifted during one particular fight. A villain with a duplication quirk had created 50 copies of himself, overwhelming local heroes. Mirko and Izuku responded to the emergency call. The copies swarmed them. Individual copies were weak, but 50 working together could overwhelm even strong heroes. One copy landed a lucky hit on Mirko, drawing blood from her arm. Izuku's dragon instincts exploded. Something attacked his territory. His pack. The thought completed itself. His mate, Dragon Force, activated instantly. Scales erupted across his body. His eyes became pure reptilian slits. Power radiated from him in visible waves. "You hurt her," Izuku said, his voice layered with draconic resonance. He moved faster than the duplicates could track. Lightning fire dragons roar. The combined blast of fire and electricity incinerated 30 copies instantly. The remaining 20 tried to scatter. Shadow dragons dance of blades. Shadows erupted from the ground, forming dozens of cutting edges that sliced through the duplicates like paper. Within seconds, all 50 copies were destroyed, leaving only the original villain cowering in fear. Izuku grabbed him by the throat, lifting him effortlessly. "You hurt her." "Izuku," Mirko said, touching his shoulder. "I'm fine. It's just a scratch." He looked at her, his dragon instincts warring with human reason. The urge to kill this threat was overwhelming, but Mirko was safe. The danger was over. He dropped the villain, who immediately surrendered. Later, after they'd handed the criminal to police, Mirko confronted him. "What was that?" she asked. "You went full dragon mode because of a scratch?" "You're important to me," Izuku said simply. "My instincts say to protect important people, with extreme force if necessary." "Important how?" He met her eyes. "I don't know all the human words for it, but dragons choose mates, partners. You and Ryukyu, I think I've chosen you both." Mirko's eyes widened. Then she grinned, not her usual battle-hungry grin, but something softer. "About damn time you figured it out." She kissed him, hard, passionate, claiming him as thoroughly as he'd claimed her. When they broke apart, both were breathing hard. "I'm not sharing you with just anyone," Mirko said. "But Ryukyu? She's worthy. We make this work. All three of us." "Yeah," Izuku agreed. "We do." The polyamorous relationship developed naturally over the following weeks. Ryukyu and Mirko met privately to discuss the arrangement. Two powerful women, both interested in the same unique boy, choosing to share rather than compete. "I respect you," Ryukyu said, "your strength, your directness, and I can see why Izuku cares for you." "Same," Mirko replied. "You understand his dragon side. You've got dragon blood yourself. Plus you're hot and powerful, so I get the appeal. So we agree? Equal partnership? No jealousy?" "I don't do jealousy. I do competition, but the fun kind. We both love him. He loves both of us. We make it work." They shook hands, then hugged, then laughed at the absurdity of their situation. When they told Izuku officially, his response was simple. "Cool. So we can all eat together more often?" Both women laughed. Trust Izuku to reduce a complex relationship to food, but that was part of his charm. He didn't overthink things. He felt what he felt, acted on those feelings, and dealt with consequences directly. Very dragon-like. Very Izuku. The first time all three of them were intimate together was tender and passionate and chaotic. Izuku's dragon instincts made him protective and possessive. Ryukyu's gentle nature balanced Mirko's aggressive passion. Together they found a rhythm that worked. Afterward, lying together in Izuku's apartment, which he rarely used but the commission insisted he have, they talked about the future. "This is going to cause problems," Ryukyu said. "Hero society isn't ready for polyamorous relationships. The media will have a field day." "Let them talk," Mirko said. "We're heroes. We save lives. What we do in our private lives is nobody's business." "I'm a dragon," Izuku added. "Dragons don't follow human relationship rules. We choose our mates and protect them. That's it. Simple." "Not simple for the rest of the world," Ryukyu pointed out. "Then the world can deal with it," Izuku said firmly. "I'm not hiding you both. You're important to me. Anyone who has a problem can fight me." Both women smiled. That was very Izuku. Solve social problems with the offer of violence. The relationship became public knowledge 2 months later when a tabloid photographer caught all three of them on a date. The headline, "Dragon Hero in Shocking Love Triangle with Top Female Heroes." The media storm was predictable. Some outlets praised them for breaking relationship norms. Others condemned them for improper behavior. Conservative heroes clutched their pearls. Progressive heroes defended their right to love who they wanted. Izuku's response when reporters cornered him, "Yeah, I'm dating both of them." "So what? You want to fight about it?" The commission tried to do damage control, but Nezu, ever the Chaos Gremlin, gave a statement supporting Izuku's relationship choices. Love is love. If 3 consenting adults choose to be together, that's their business. Next question. Eventually, the controversy died down. People got used to seeing Izuku with either Ryukyu or Mirko or both. The Dragon Trio became accepted, if unusual. And Izuku? He couldn't care less what people thought. He had 2 amazing women who understood him, loved him, and could fight beside him. What else mattered? 4 months after the work study began, intelligence reached the Hiro Public Safety Commission about a dangerous criminal organization. The Hasaikai, a Yakuza group that had been quiet for years, had suddenly become active again. Reports suggested they were experimenting on people, developing some kind of quirk-destroying drug. The commission assembled a raid team. Multiple agencies coordinated for a simultaneous strike on several Hasaikai facilities. Ryukyu's agency was assigned to the main compound. She specifically requested Izuku and Mirko join her team. The briefing revealed disturbing information. The Hasaikai was keeping a young girl captive, using her quirk to create the weapon. A child named Eri, approximately 6 years old, with a quirk that could rewind people's bodies. Izuku's dragon instincts exploded with protective rage the moment he saw Eri's picture. A child. They were experimenting on a child. "I'm going to kill them," he said calmly during the briefing. Dragneel, the operation commander, started. "We need to capture the leadership for interrogation." "I'm going to kill them," Izuku repeated, his voice taking on draconic resonance. "They hurt a child. That's unforgivable." Ryukyu put a hand on his shoulder. "We'll save Eri first, then you can do what needs to be done." Mirko grinned savagely. "I'm with the kid. Anyone who'd experiment on children deserves whatever they get." The raid launched at dawn. Ryukyu's team hit the main compound, a massive underground facility built beneath a residential area. The Hasaikai had dozens of guards, multiple defensive positions, and their elite enforcers protecting the leadership. Izuku went in first. He used Shadow Dragon magic to infiltrate, merging with darkness and slipping past initial defenses undetected. His goal, locate Eri. He found her 3 levels down, in a sterile medical room. A little girl with white hair and a horn on her head covered in bandages, hooked up to machines. The rage Izuku felt in that moment was beyond anything he'd experienced before. His dragon force activated involuntarily. Scales erupted across his body. His aura became visible, a swirling mix of 7 colors representing his mastered elements. The guards in the room died before they could scream. Shadow Dragon's dance of blades cut them apart. Izuku approached Eri gently despite the violence around them. "Hey, I'm Izuku. I'm here to rescue you." She looked at him with terrified eyes. "You'll get hurt. Overhaul will..." "Nobody's gonna hurt you anymore," Izuku said firmly. He carefully disconnected the machines, using Sky Dragon magic to heal her immediately. White Dragon's healing light purified whatever drugs they'd given her. He picked her up carefully. "Hold on tight, we're leaving." Then he erupted from the facility like a missile, smashing through ceiling after ceiling until they reached the surface. Ryukyu was waiting. She'd transformed to full dragon form, holding off dozens of Hasaikai guards. "Eri," she called out, relief in her voice. "She's safe," Izuku said, handing the girl to Ryukyu. "Keep her protected. I'm going back in." "Izuku, the mission is to..." "I'm going to kill everyone responsible for this," Izuku interrupted. His voice was cold, absolute. "Stay here. Protect Eri. This won't take long." He dropped back into the compound, and the massacre began. Izuku moved through the facility like death incarnate. Guards with gun quirks, Fire Dragon's Roar incinerated them. Enforcers with combat quirks, Lightning Dragon's Breakdown Fist vaporized them. Elite members with powerful abilities, Shadow Dragon's Crushing Fang pierced their hearts. He used every element systematically. Fire for groups. Lightning for speed, Iron for defense, Sky for mobility, White for purification, Shadow for stealth kills. And for the first time in real combat, Poison Dragon Slayer magic felt vile in the best way. Toxic energy that corrupted and destroyed from within. Poison Dragon's Roar. Purple-black miasma erupted from his mouth, flooding an entire corridor. The toxic breath killed everyone it touched, dissolving their bodies from the inside out. Screams cut off as lungs melted, skin sloughed off bones. A brutal, horrifying death, perfect for people who experimented on children. Izuku felt no remorse. These weren't people. They were monsters who'd torture a little girl for profit. He cleared floor after floor, leaving corpses in his wake. The Hasaikai's numbers meant nothing. Their defenses were meaningless. Against a dragon, they were just prey. Finally, he reached the lowest level where the organization's leader waited. Overhaul, the man responsible for everything. The one who'd kept Eri captive, who'd torn her apart and put her back together repeatedly to harvest her quirk. He stood in a massive underground chamber, wearing his plague doctor mask, completely calm despite the carnage above. "So you're the dragon hero," Overhaul said. "I've heard stories. You're strong, I'll admit, but strength alone won't." "Shut up," Izuku interrupted. "You tortured a child. I don't need to hear your justification or philosophy or whatever villain monologue you've prepared. I'm just going to kill you." Overhaul's eyes narrowed behind the mask. "I see. Direct approach. Fine." He activated his quirk, Overhaul, the ability to disassemble and reassemble matter at the molecular level. The floor erupted into spikes aimed at Izuku. Iron Dragon's scales. The spikes shattered against Izuku's hardened skin. He didn't even flinch. Overhaul reassembled the spikes into walls, trying to crush Izuku between them. Fire Dragon's roar. Flames melted the walls instantly. Izuku walked through the molten debris unharmed. Overhaul started combining his quirk with the environment more creatively. The entire chamber became his weapon. Floor shifting, ceiling dropping, walls closing in. Izuku responded by ascending to Dragon Force. Full power. No holding back. Lightning Fire Dragon's roar. The combined blast of fire and electricity was too fast for Overhaul to block. It caught him in the chest, burning through his defenses and electrocuting him simultaneously. Overhaul screamed, falling to his knees. His left arm was gone, vaporized by the attack, but his quirk activated automatically, rebuilding his body from the surrounding matter. "Interesting," Izuku said. "You can regenerate. Let's see how many times." What followed wasn't a fight. It was systematic destruction. Izuku would attack. Overhaul would regenerate. Izuku would attack harder. The cycle repeated, each time Izuku using a different Dragon Slayer element. Fire Dragon's talons burned Overhaul's legs off. Lightning Dragon's jaw electrocuted his remaining arm into ash. Poison Dragon's spiral jaw injected toxic magic that prevented proper healing. Shadow Dragon's crushing fang pierced through his regenerating chest, destroying organs faster than they could reform. White Dragon's holy breath purified the corrupted quirk energy, making regeneration painful and incomplete. Overhaul was screaming continuously now, his body a mass of half-healed wounds and exposed bone. "Please," he gasped. I'll cooperate. Tell you everything. Just Holy Shadow Dragon's flash fang." Izuku combined White and Shadow Dragon magic, holy light mixed with consuming darkness. The technique represented purification and destruction merged into one attack. It was beautiful in its brutality. The light shadow blade pierced through Overhaul's forehead and out the back of his skull. For an instant, his entire body was illuminated from within, holy magic burning away his corruption, while shadow magic consumed his existence. Then he was gone. Not dead, erased. His quirk couldn't regenerate from complete molecular annihilation. Izuku stood alone in the silent chamber, surrounded by the remnants of his rampage. He'd killed 43 Hasaikai members personally, injured dozens more who'd fled, completely destroyed their organization in less than 30 minutes, and he felt good about it. When he emerged from the facility, Ryukyu and Mirko were waiting with Eri and several other rescued victims. Mirko took one look at him, covered in blood and ash, eyes still glowing with dragon power, and grinned. "Have fun down there?" "They're all dead," Izuku confirmed. "Good," Mirko said simply. Ryukyu approached with Eri in her arms. The little girl looked at Izuku with wide eyes. "You saved me," she whispered. "Of course I did," Izuku said, his voice gentle despite the violence still clinging to him. "Dragons protect innocent people, especially kids. Nobody's ever going to hurt you again." Eri started crying. Not from fear, from relief. Izuku carefully took her from Ryukyu and held her close, using White Dragon's healing light to soothe her trauma. The holy magic couldn't erase memories, but it could ease the pain. "You're safe now," he promised. "I'll make sure of it." The commission investigated the raid. 43 deaths, millions in property damage, complete destruction of a criminal organization. Their conclusion: justified use of force against an active threat to a child's life. Izuku received a commendation. So did Ryukyu and Mirko. And Eri? She was placed in protective custody, with Izuku listed as her primary guardian. Nobody argued. After what he'd done to save her, everyone agreed he was the safest option. That night, back at his apartment with Ryukyu and Mirko, Izuku finally broke down. I wanted to make them suffer more, he admitted. For what they did to her, I wanted to make it last longer. But you didn't, Ryukyu said gently. You killed them efficiently and moved on. That's growth. She's safe because of you, Mirko added. Focus on that, not on the scum you put down. Izuku nodded. They were right. Eri was safe. The monsters were dead. That was what mattered. He fell asleep between his two lovers, feeling their warmth and comfort, knowing he'd done the right thing, even if the methods were brutal. Dragons protected their own. K-spies. He'd protect Eri. Protect Ryukyu and Mirko. Protect everyone who couldn't protect themselves, and kill anyone who threatened them. That was his way. The Dragon Hero's way. Life settled into a new pattern after the Hasaikai raid. Izuku continued his studies at UA while also caring for Eri. The little girl had severe trauma, but Izuku's straightforward honesty helped her heal. He never lied to her, never hid the truth, and most importantly, never treated her as fragile. You've got a powerful quirk, he told her one day while teaching her to eat properly again. When you're ready, I'll help you learn to control it. No pressure, no experiments, just training, like how I trained to use my magic. Eri looked at him with those wide red eyes. You'd teach me? Of course, I'm good at teaching dragon magic. Your quirk is different, but the principles are similar. Control, focus, using power without fear. She smiled, the first real smile since her rescue. At UA, the rest of Class 1A had grown accustomed to Izuku's absences for hero work. They'd also gotten used to seeing him with Ryukyu and Mirko. During lunch one day, Mina couldn't contain her curiosity anymore. So how does the relationship work exactly? Do you have scheduled days, or... We all just spend time together when we can, Izuku said through a mouthful of food. Ryukyu's agency work is during the day. Mirko patrols at night. I'm at school, so we coordinate schedules. It's not complicated. It sounds complicated, Kaminari said. Only if you overthink it, Izuku replied. I like them both. They like me. We make it work. Done. That's the most Dragneel answer possible, Kirishima laughed. The cultural festival approached, UA's annual event where students showcased talents and entertained civilians. Izuku thought it sounded pointless, but Eri got excited when she heard about it. Can I come watch? She asked. Of course you can, Izuku said. Actually want to help our class with something? Her eyes lit up. Really? Class 1A decided on a concert. Bakugo somehow ended up on drums despite his protests. Jiro led the music. Everyone else contributed. Izuku's contribution? Pyrotechnics using fire dragon magic. The performance was chaotic and energetic and perfectly captured Class 1A's personality. Izuku created elaborate fire displays in sync with the music. Dragons made of flame, explosions of color, controlled chaos that never actually endangered anyone. Eri watched from the front row between Ryukyu and Mirko, her face glowing with joy. Seeing her smile made all the festival nonsense worth it. The festival was interrupted, naturally, by a villain attack. Gentle Criminal and La Brava, a duo who committed theatrical crimes for internet fame. They'd chosen the cultural festival as their next target. Izuku sensed them infiltrating the school grounds. He found them backstage during the concert setup. Sorry, he said casually. Can't let you disrupt our festival. There's a little girl who's really excited to watch. Gentle activated his quirk, elasticity, making air and surfaces bouncy and elastic. Then perhaps we can. Fire Dragon's Iron Fist. The punch was so fast Gentle didn't even see it coming. The impact sent him flying through 3 walls before he crashed unconscious. La Brava stared in shock. Gentle. He'll be fine, Izuku said. Probably a concussion, some broken bones. Nothing fatal. Now are you going to attack, or can I get back to our concert? She chose surrender. Total villain encounter time, 40 seconds. Problem solved. Festival continued. Afterward, Gentle went to prison, but received a lighter sentence due to his non-violent record and Izuku's testimony that he'd surrendered peacefully. The joint training exercise between classes 1A and 1B was scheduled 2 weeks after the festival. Originally, it was supposed to be students versus students, but Nezu, being Nezu, decided to make it more interesting. Joint training will be modified this year, the principal announced cheerfully. Rather than students facing each other, we'll have professional heroes participate. Consider it a demonstration of the gap between students and pros and a chance to learn from direct combat. Vlad King from Class 1B protested, "That's not fair to the students. They're not ready to face pros." "Most students aren't," Nezu agreed, looking directly at Izuku. "But we have an outlier, so we'll balance accordingly." The exercise format, teams of 5 students would face 2 professional heroes in combat scenarios. The goal was to either capture the pros or survive for 10 minutes. Most teams would struggle to last 5 minutes. Izuku's team, himself, Todoroki, Ida, Tokoyami, and Momo, faced Endeavor and Gang Orca, the number 1 and number 10 heroes. Endeavor took one look at the team composition and focused immediately on Izuku. "So you're the dragon hero." "I've heard the stories. Let's see if you live up to the hype." "Hell yeah," Izuku grinned. "I've wanted to fight you since I saw you on TV. Let's go." The match began. Endeavor opened with Flashfire Fist, his ultimate technique. Flames hot enough to melt steel in seconds. Izuku opened his mouth and inhaled. The flames were sucked in, consumed, absorbed completely. "Thanks for the meal," Izuku said, fire leaking from his grinning mouth. Endeavor's eye twitched. "You can eat fire? I'm a fire dragon slayer. Fire is my food." Gang Orca tried to capitalize on Endeavor's shock, unleashing his sonic attacks, paralysis waves that could disable opponents. Shadow Dragon's Waxwing Flash. Izuku merged with shadows, becoming intangible. The sonic attack passed through harmless darkness. He emerged behind Gang Orca, already attacking. Lightning Dragon's Jaw. Electricity surged. Gang Orca's orca-like body convulsed as the lightning overloaded his nervous system. He collapsed, paralyzed. One pro hero down in 15 seconds. Endeavor realized he was dealing with someone far beyond normal student level. He activated his full power, flames erupting across his body. "If you can eat fire, let's see you eat this." He unleashed Prominence Burn, a massive explosion of fire that could vaporize city blocks. Izuku countered with his own ultimate technique. Fire Dragon King's Roar. The blast of flames that erupted from Izuku's mouth was hotter than Endeavor's, purer, more powerful. It was the fire of a dragon, not a quirk, fundamental, primordial, absolute. The 2 fire attacks collided. For an instant, they seemed evenly matched. Then Izuku's flames consumed Endeavor's completely. The number 1 hero was engulfed in dragon fire. His flame-resistant body was the only reason he survived, but even he was scorched and smoking when the attack ended. Endeavor fell to one knee, breathing hard. "Impossible, my flames. Overpowered?" "You're strong," Izuku admitted. "Your fire is really hot for a human, but I'm a dragon. Our flames are on a different level." The rest of Izuku's team hadn't even needed to act. He'd handled both pro heroes alone. The watching students and teachers were silent. "Match over," the referee announced. "Student team wins. Time elapsed 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Other teams' matches continued, but none came close to Izuku's performance. When Bakugo's team faced their pro heroes, he lasted 6 minutes before being defeated. Respectable, but the gap between him and Izuku was painfully obvious. After the exercise, Endeavor approached Izuku privately. "You're strong," the hero said bluntly. "Stronger than most pros. Stronger than probably anyone except All Might at his peak." "Thanks," Izuku said. "You're pretty strong too. Want to fight again sometime?" Endeavor actually smiled, a small, grim expression. "You remind me of what heroes should be. Powerful, direct. No hesitation." "Dragons don't hesitate," Izuku agreed. They shook hands. Mutual respect between powerful fighters. Later that week, during a private training session, Izuku demonstrated his newest mastery to Ryukyu and Mirko. "Watch this," he said, grinning excitedly. "I've finally perfected Poison Dragon Slayer magic." He took a deep breath, gathering toxic energy in his lungs. "Poison Dragon's Roar." Purple-black miasma erupted from his mouth, flooding the training area. The toxic breath was so potent it melted through the reinforced walls. When the poison cleared, Izuku stood in the center of a dissolved crater. "Holy shit," Mirko said, impressed despite herself. "That's nasty." "It gets better," Izuku said. "Poison Dragon's Twin Fang." Twin blades of toxic energy shot from his hands, impaling training dummies across the room. The poison spread through their artificial bodies, dissolving them from within. "Poison Dragon's Scales!" His skin became covered in venomous armor. Touching him would inject deadly toxins. And the best part? Poison Dragon's Spiral Jaw. He demonstrated on a massive concrete pillar, his poison-enhanced punch drilling through the structure. The toxins spread through the concrete's molecular structure, causing it to crumble and dissolve. Ryukyu clapped. Impressive. That's 7 Dragon Slayer magics fully mastered. Fire, iron, sky, lightning, white, shadow, and poison. Are there more? Mirko asked. Lots more, Izuku confirmed. God Dragon, Devil Dragon, different elemental variants, but these 7 are the main ones. With these, I can handle pretty much any situation. Show us combinations, Ryukyu requested. You've used dual element techniques before, but what about triple or more? Izuku's grin widened. Hell yeah! Watch this. He gathered power from 3 elements simultaneously. Holy Shadow Dragon's Flash Fang. The attack combined White Dragon's purifying light with Shadow Dragon's consuming darkness. The result was a blade of twilight energy, neither light nor dark, but both, capable of cutting through anything while simultaneously purifying and destroying it. Lightning poisoned Dragon's jaw. Electricity and toxins merged into a crackling purple-gold attack. Anything hit would be electrocuted and poisoned simultaneously. Ironfire Dragon's sword. He summoned a blade of solid iron wreathed in dragon flames. The weapon could cut and burn, physical and magical damage combined. These combination techniques, Izuku explained, use multiple Dragon Slayer magics at once. They're harder to control but way more powerful than single-element attacks. He demonstrated more combinations. Shadow Iron Dragon's Lance, darkness solidified into metal spears. White Lightning Dragon's Holy Bolt, purifying electricity. Fire Poison Dragon's Toxic Roar, flames that carried deadly venom. Sky Shadow Dragon's Dark Wind, healing darkness that could also conceal. Each technique showcased his incredible control and power. He'd not only mastered 7 Dragon Slayer magics individually, but learned to combine them in creative ways. You're a one-man army, Mirko said with pride. More like a one-dragon army, Ryukyu corrected. Same thing, Izuku laughed. That night, the 3 of them celebrated his accomplishment. 7 Dragon Slayer magics mastered, countless combination techniques, power that surpassed most of hero society, and he was only 16 years old. What's next? Ryukyu asked, lying beside him in bed. More training, Izuku said. I can feel there's something beyond individual Dragon Slayer magics, like they're all pieces of something bigger. My parents' grimoires hint at it, but I haven't figured it out yet. Ultimate form? Mirko suggested from his other side. Maybe. Dragon Force is already pretty ultimate, but I think there's another level, something that combines all the magics into one perfect form. You'll figure it out, both women said simultaneously, then laughed. Izuku smiled, pulling them close. He had time. He had support. He had people he loved and who loved him back. The future was bright, but dark clouds were gathering on the horizon. Villains were reorganizing, new threats were emerging, and soon Izuku would face challenges that would push him beyond anything he'd experienced before. But that was fine. He was all fired up for whatever came next. The Meta Liberation Army emerged 6 months after the Hasaikai raid. They were different from previous villain organizations. Not criminals seeking profit or chaos, ideologists who believed quirk usage should be unrestricted, that society's regulations oppress those with power. Their leader, Redestro, was a charismatic businessman who'd built a massive following, hundreds of thousands of supporters, many legitimate civilians who believed in his message. But his core inner circle? Dangerous villains willing to kill for their ideology. They made their play during a hero convention in Deku City, a coordinated attack designed to demonstrate the superiority of liberated quirk usage. Thousands of MLA soldiers attacked simultaneously, overwhelming local heroes. The Hero Public Safety Commission deployed emergency response teams. Izuku volunteered immediately. This is a war, the commission commander warned. Not a rescue mission or a villain raid. Mass combat against organized forces. Are you prepared for that? I'm a dragon, Izuku said simply. War is what we do best. Ryukyu and Mirko deployed with him along with dozens of other pro-heroes. They arrived in Deku City to find it transformed into a battlefield. Buildings burned, civilians fled. MLA soldiers fought heroes in the streets. Izuku surveyed the chaos from the sky, hovering on Sky Dragon's wings. Ryukyu, Mirko, he said through the communication device, get civilians to safety. I'm clearing the city. Alone? Ryukyu protested. I've got 7 Dragon Slayer magics. This is what they're for. He descended into the city like a meteor. The massacre began. Izuku moved through the streets systematically, using different Dragon Slayer elements for maximum efficiency. Fire dragons roar. Flames swept through a street full of MLA soldiers. Those who didn't burn to death fled screaming. Lightning dragons raging bolt. Lightning struck from the sky, electrocuting dozens of soldiers who'd taken position on rooftops. Poison dragons roar. Toxic breath filled an entire city block. MLA members collapsed, choking as the poison dissolved their lungs. He used Shadow Dragon magic for stealth, appearing from darkness to strike down MLA commanders before they could coordinate their forces. White Dragon magic for purification, cleansing corrupted areas and healing wounded civilians. Iron Dragon magic for defense, protecting himself from the occasional lucky hit. Sky Dragon magic for mobility, flying between combat zones faster than anyone could track, and Poison Dragon magic for area denial, creating toxic zones that forced enemies to retreat or die. The MLA had numbers. They had coordination, they had powerful individual fighters. None of it mattered against a dragon. Izuku carved through their forces like a blade through water. Dozens fell, then hundreds. The streets ran with blood and ash. He encountered one of the MLA's elite members, Trumpet, whose quirk could boost nearby allies' strength and morale. "For the liberation," Trumpet shouted, his voice magically enhanced, strengthening the MLA soldiers around him. Shadow Dragon's crushing fang. Izuku's shadow-wrapped fist punched through Trumpet's chest. The darkness invaded his body, shutting down his organs. He died with his mouth still open, mid-speech. Another elite, Sliding Go, a hero who'd secretly joined the MLA, attacked with his sliding quirk, moving at high speed while calling for Izuku's death. Lightning Fire Dragon's Iron Fist. The combined attack was too fast to dodge. Flames and electricity and dragon strength converged in one punch. Sliding Go's body exploded from the impact. Curious, the MLA's strategist tried to trap Izuku with her intelligence-gathering quirk, learning his weaknesses to exploit them. She never got the chance. White Dragon's Holy Breath. Holy light washed over her, purifying the corruption in her soul. Her body dissolved into ash, cleansed from existence. One by one, Izuku hunted down and killed the MLA's leadership. Each death showcased a different Dragon Slayer technique. Each technique demonstrated his absolute superiority. The MLA soldiers began to break. Their leaders were dead, their numbers were depleted, and the dragon hero showed no signs of stopping or tiring. They retreated, fled, surrendered. Izuku let the surrendering ones live. He killed those who continued fighting. By the time Ryukyu and Mirko finished evacuating civilians, Izuku had cleared half the city alone. "How many?" Mirko asked, looking at the carnage. "Lost count," Izuku admitted. "Few hundred, maybe more. They kept coming." "And Redestro?" Ryukyu asked about the MLA's leader. "Haven't found him yet. He's hiding somewhere." As if summoned by his name, Redestro emerged from a fortified building in the city center. The man was massive. His stress quirk had amplified his body to monstrous proportions. 10 meters tall, covered in armor like stress constructs, radiating power. "Dragon Hero!" Redestro's voice boomed across the city. "You've killed my subordinates, destroyed my army. For what? To protect a corrupt society that fears true strength? They were hurting people," Izuku said simply. "That's enough reason to stop them. Now are we going to fight, or are you going to keep talking?" Redestro roared and charged. His massive fist swung down, enhanced by accumulated stress energy. The punch could level buildings. Izuku blocked it with Iron Dragon's scales. The impact created a shockwave that shattered windows for blocks. "My turn," Izuku said. "Fire Dragon King's Demolition Fist!" His dragon fire-enhanced punch hit Redestro in the chest. The flames burned through the stress armor like paper, scorching the man underneath. Redestro roared in pain but didn't fall. His stress quirk fed on his emotional state. The more stressed he became, the stronger his power. Fighting Izuku was very stressful. His body grew larger, stronger. His stress armor thickened. He attacked with combinations of punches and pressure waves. Izuku escalated, lightning poison dragon's roar. The combined breath attack, electricity and toxins merged, blasted through Redestro's defenses. The lightning stunned him while the poison began eating through his enhanced body. Holy Shadow Dragon's Flash Fang! Twilight blades cut across Redestro's armor, purifying the stress energy while cutting through to flesh beneath. Redestro was bleeding now, his body failing despite his quirk's power. But Izuku wasn't done. He ascended to Dragon Force, full power state. Scales covered his body, wings erupted from his back, his aura became visible, swirling with 7 colors. "You want to see true strength?" Izuku asked, his voice layered with draconic resonance. "This is the power of a Dragon King." He combined all 7 Dragon Slayer elements into a single technique. His right fist gathered fire and iron, strength and heat. His left fist gathered lightning and poison, speed and corruption. His body channeled sky and shadow, mobility and stealth. His essence radiated white, purification. Dragon King's 7-star fist. He struck Redestro with both fists simultaneously. 7 Dragon Slayer magics converged into one attack. The explosion was visible from space, a pillar of multicolored energy that pierced the clouds. The shockwave leveled everything within 3 city blocks. When the light faded, Redestro was gone. Not dead, vaporized. His quirk couldn't regenerate from complete molecular annihilation. Izuku stood in the center of a crater, breathing hard but victorious. The Meta Liberation Army was finished, their leadership dead, their forces scattered. But something else emerged from the chaos. Gigantomachia, the massive monster who'd once served All for One, had been drawn to the battle by the scent of powerful opponents. The creature was 40 meters tall, built like a mountain, with multiple quirks that made it nearly indestructible. It looked at Izuku and roared a challenge. Izuku grinned despite his exhaustion. "Hell yeah, a real monster! Let's go!" The battle that followed shook the entire city. Gigantomachia attacked with raw power. Punches that created earthquakes, roars that shattered buildings, quirks that manipulated earth and enhanced strength. Izuku countered with every Dragon Slayer technique he'd mastered. Fire Dragon's roar set Gigantomachia ablaze. The creature barely noticed. Lightning Dragon's raging bolt struck from above. Gigantomachia tanked it. Poison Dragon's spiral jaw injected toxins. Gigantomachia's multiple quirks provided resistance. Iron Dragon's lance, demon logs impaled the creature. It pulled the metal spears out like splinters. This was a real opponent, someone who could withstand Izuku's attacks and keep fighting. Exactly what Izuku had been wanting. "I'm all fired up now," Izuku roared, his battle lust singing. He escalated further, combining elements in complex techniques. Karma Demon, Iron God's Sword. He summoned his ultimate weapon, a massive blade of iron infused with all 7 Dragon Slayer elements. The sword was 15 meters long, crackling with fire and lightning, dripping poison, radiating holy light and consuming shadows. He swung it at Gigantomachia's neck. The blade cut through. Not completely. The creature's durability was absurd, but deep enough to draw massive amounts of blood. Gigantomachia staggered, roaring in pain and fury. Lightning Fire Dragon King's Destruction Fist! Izuku's ultimate punch, combining Fire Dragon King flames with Lightning Dragon electricity and Pure Dragon force, struck Gigantomachia in the chest. The impact created a crater within a crater. Gigantomachia's chest caved in. Ribs broke. Organs ruptured. The creature fell backward, crashing through buildings, creating a trench hundreds of meters long. It tried to rise, its regeneration quirk activating, trying to heal the catastrophic damage. Izuku didn't give it the chance. Dragon Slayer's secret art, Crimson Lotus Exploding Lightning Blade. His ultimate technique, the one that combined all his most powerful elements into a spinning attack of pure destruction. He became a tornado of fire, lightning, iron, poison, light, and shadow. The spinning blade tornado descended on Gigantomachia like divine judgment. When the attack ended, Gigantomachia was dead. Its massive body was cut into dozens of pieces, each piece burned and poisoned beyond regeneration. Izuku landed in the center of the destruction, panting hard. That fight had pushed him, actually made him work for victory. It felt incredible. Ryukyu and Mirko rushed to him. "You idiot," Mirko punched his shoulder. "You fought that thing alone." "Are you injured?" Ryukyu asked, checking him with worried eyes. "I'm fine," Izuku said, grinning despite his exhaustion. "That was fun. Real challenge." Both women sighed in relief and exasperation. The city was devastated. Thousands of MLA members dead or captured, Redestro and the leadership eliminated, Gigantomachia destroyed. Izuku had single-handedly crushed an entire army and killed a monster that had terrified heroes for years. The media coverage was intense. Some called him a hero, others called him a monster. The debate about his methods raged. Izuku didn't care. He'd protected people, destroyed evil. That was enough. That night, back at his apartment with Ryukyu and Mirko, he collapsed from exhaustion for the first time in months. Both women cared for him tenderly, washing blood and ash from his body, tending minor wounds, letting him sleep between them. "He's getting stronger," Ryukyu said quietly. "Scary strong," Mirko agreed. "That last attack, I've never seen power like that. Do you think he'll outgrow us? Probably, but I don't care. I'm with him because of who he is, not how strong he is." "Me too." They looked at Izuku's sleeping face, peaceful, content, a slight smile even in unconsciousness. "We should make it official soon," Mirko said. "Marriage or whatever, before some other woman tries to steal him." Ryukyu smiled. "Agreed, after this war ends." "War? You can feel it too. This was just a prelude. Something bigger is coming. AFO's forces regrouping, new threats emerging. The final battle is approaching." Mirko nodded grimly. "Then we make sure he survives it, and we survive it with him." They settled beside Izuku, protecting him as he'd protected so many others. The dragon hero slept, dreaming of his parents and their legacy, unaware of the storm gathering on the horizon. 3 months of relative peace followed the Deka City incident. Izuku continued his training, pushing his Dragon Slayer magics to new heights. He could now combine up to 4 elements simultaneously, creating techniques that defied description. Aries' rehabilitation progressed well. She was smiling regularly now, learning to use her rewind quirk in controlled bursts under Izuku's patient guidance. The relationship between Izuku, Ryukyu, and Mirko deepened. They were discussing moving in together officially, making their partnership permanent. Class 1A had their final exams approaching. Izuku was confident. Written tests were easy with his photographic memory, and practical exams would be a joke. Everything seemed stable. Then intelligence reached the Hiro Public Safety Commission, the Paranormal Liberation Front, a fusion of the remnants of the League of Villains and Meta Liberation Army, had been operating in secret. Recruiting, planning, building towards something catastrophic. And at their center, Tamura Shigaraki, undergoing a transformation that would grant him power rivaling All for One. The commission organized a massive preemptive strike. Every major hero agency coordinated. Hundreds of heroes deployed to multiple locations simultaneously, the largest hero operation in Japanese history. Izuku was assigned to the main assault team targeting the PLF headquarters, a massive compound hidden in the mountains. He went with Ryukyu, Mirko, and several other top heroes. Endeavor led the operation. The assault began at dawn. The PLF had thousands of soldiers, dozens of powerful villains, defensive positions designed to withstand hero assaults. None of it mattered. Izuku entered the compound first, descending from the sky like divine punishment. Fire Dragon King's roar. The blast of flames carved through the compound's outer defenses, incinerating fortifications and soldiers alike. Before the PLF could respond, he was already inside. What followed was systematic destruction. Izuku moved through the compound using all 7 Dragon Slayer magics, each element chosen for maximum tactical effectiveness. Hallways full of soldiers, Poison Dragon's roar flooded the corridors with toxic death. Reinforced bunkers, Iron Dragon's lance pierced through walls and occupants. Snipers on rooftops, Lightning Dragon's raging bolt struck them down. Villains using stealth, Shadow Dragon's waxwing flash let him hunt them in darkness. Corrupted areas, White Dragon's holy breath purified evil. Injured heroes, Sky Dragon's healing magic kept allies fighting. He was a one-man army, a force of nature, a dragon unleashed. The other heroes followed in his wake, capturing surrendering villains and securing the compound. But the real work, the killing, the destroying, the terrifying demonstration of overwhelming power, was all Izuku. He encountered members of the League of Villains who'd survived this long. Dabi attacked with his blue flame, the same ones that had nearly killed Endeavor. Fire Dragon King's demolition fist! Izuku's dragon flames were hotter, purer. They consumed Dabi's blue fire and kept going, punching through the villain's chest and out his back. Dabi died with shock on his face, unable to comprehend flames superior to his own. Toga appeared, trying to ambush Ryukyu with her transformation quirk. Izuku's protective instincts exploded. Poison Dragon's twin fang, the toxic blades that shot faster than Toga could dodge. They impaled her through both lungs, injecting poison that killed her in seconds. Her body collapsed, already dissolving from the toxins. Spinner tried to fight with his collection of swords and blades. Iron Dragon's sword. Izuku's metal blade cut through every weapon Spinner carried, then through Spinner himself. The villain split in half. Compress attempted to capture Izuku in his marbles, Shadow Dragon's crushing fang. The darkness-infused punch shattered Compress's quirk and his body. He died compressed into his own marble. One by one, the League of Villains fell. The organization that had terrorized Japan for years was eliminated in less than an hour. Then Izuku reached the central chamber where Shigaraki was undergoing his transformation. The machine was massive, a capsule filled with liquid with Shigaraki floating inside, his body mutating, growing stronger, and standing before it, protecting it with his presence alone. All for one. Not physically. His body was still in prison. But his consciousness, his will, his quirks, all manifested through a connection to Shigaraki. Dragon Hero, AFO's voice echoed through the chamber. You've killed so many of my soldiers, destroyed my plans repeatedly. You've been quite troublesome. You experimented on people, Izuku said calmly. Hurt kids, created monsters. I'm stopping you permanently. You tried that before in Kamino Ward. I'm still alive, aren't I? Prison can't hold me forever. Then I'll fix that mistake. This time, you die for real. AFO laughed. Bold words from a child. Even if you could defeat me, which you cannot, I'm not truly here. This is merely a projection, a fragment of my will. You cannot kill what has no body. Watch me. Izuku activated Dragon Force instantly. Full power, no holding back. Scales erupted across his body, each scale shimmering with a different elemental color. Fire red, iron silver, sky blue, lightning gold, holy white, shadow black, poison purple. His wings manifested. Massive dragon wings formed from solidified magical energy. His aura became visible, 7 colors swirling together, cracking the air with power. This was Izuku at his absolute peak. Dragon Force enhanced all 7 Dragon Slayer magics simultaneously. AFO's projection seemed impressed. Interesting. You're stronger than in Kamino Ward, but strength alone won't. Fire Dragon King's roar! The blast of dragon flames was hotter than anything AFO had faced before. It forced his projection backward. Lightning Dragon's breakdown fist! Electricity surged through the attack, disrupting AFO's quirks. Iron Dragon's lance, demon logs, metal spears shot from multiple angles. AFO countered with dozens of stolen quirks, air pressure, force fields, warping space itself. They clashed in the center of the chamber, 2 absolute powerhouses unleashing everything. AFO used quirks Izuku had never seen before, decay spreading through the ground, explosions that rivaled nuclear weapons, energy beams that could vaporize steel. Izuku responded with combinations of Dragon Slayer magic. Holy Shadow Dragon's Flash Fang. Twilight blades cut through AFO's defenses. Lightning poisoned Dragon's Jaw. Electrified toxins invaded the projection's form. Iron Fire Dragon's Demolishing Sword. A massive blade of burning metal cleaved through space itself. The battle raged. The compound shook. Mountains outside crumbled from the shockwaves. Other heroes evacuated, unable to approach the combat zone. The power being thrown around would kill anyone below top-tier level. Ryukyu and Mirko watched from a safe distance, fear and pride warring in their hearts. AFO began to realize he couldn't win. This projection had limited power, and Izuku was pushing him to his absolute limit. I underestimated you, AFO admitted. You're not just strong, you're beyond the system I created. Magic instead of quirks, a true wild card. Yeah, Izuku said, breathing hard but still fighting. I'm from a different world. Your quirks don't apply to me, your rules don't bind me. I'm a dragon, and you're about to learn what that means. He gathered power from all 7 elements: fire, iron, sky, lightning, white, shadow, poison, all converging. Dragon Slayer's secret art, 7 Dragons' Judgment. The technique combined every Dragon Slayer magic he'd mastered into one attack. It was beautiful and terrible, a beam of pure magical energy containing 7 different elements spiraling together. AFO tried to defend. He used every quirk, every defense, every technique he'd accumulated over centuries. It wasn't enough. The beam pierced through his projection, destroying it completely. The connection to Shigaraki severed. AFO's consciousness was expelled from the chamber, but before he fled completely, he left final words. This isn't over, Dragon Hero. I'll return, and when I do, I'll have power beyond anything you've faced. Prepare yourself. Then silence. Izuku stood alone in the shattered chamber, breathing hard. He'd won, driven off AFO's manifestation. Destroyed his projection, but the victory felt incomplete. AFO was still alive in prison, still planning, still a threat, and Shigaraki's transformation was complete. The capsule opened, Tomura Shigaraki emerged, his body transformed. Enhanced, empowered with quirks stolen by AFO. He looked at Izuku with dead eyes. All for One wanted me to capture you, bring you to him for study, but I think I'll just kill you instead. Shigaraki attacked immediately, his decay spreading across the entire floor. Izuku flew upward with sky dragon magic, avoiding the disintegration. Lightning fire dragons roar. The combined attack struck Shigaraki directly. It should have killed him. Instead, Shigaraki tanked it. His enhanced body regenerated the damage instantly. I have super regeneration now, Shigaraki said calmly. And dozens of other quirks. I'm essentially immortal, you can't win. We'll see about that, Izuku said. They fought. Shigaraki's decay was incredibly dangerous. One touch and Izuku's body would disintegrate. His regeneration made him nearly impossible to kill. His stolen quirks gave him versatility and power. But Izuku had something Shigaraki lacked. Experience combining multiple magics. Holy Shadow Dragon's Flash Fang! The purifying darkness cut through Shigaraki's regeneration, cauterizing wounds so they couldn't heal. Poison Dragon's Spiral Jaw. Toxins invaded Shigaraki's enhanced body, slowing his regeneration. Iron Fire Dragon's Demolishing Sword. The burning metal blade carved through Shigaraki's chest, but Shigaraki kept regenerating, kept fighting. His power was absurd. The battle raged for 10 minutes, 15, 20. Both fighters were injured, exhausted, pushing their limits. Then Ryukyu and Mirko joined in. Ryukyu transformed to full dragon form, her massive size allowing her to grapple Shigaraki. Mirko used her powerful kicks to break his bones faster than they could regenerate. Together with Izuku, they overwhelmed the transformed villain. Crimson Lotus Exploding Lightning Blade. Izuku's ultimate technique, enhanced by Dragon Force, struck Shigaraki while he was restrained. The spinning tornado of fire, lightning, and Dragon Force cut through Shigaraki's body dozens of times in a single second. Even his enhanced regeneration couldn't keep up. Shigaraki's body fell apart, cut into pieces too small to regenerate from. But before he died completely, his final words echoed, "All for One will return, and you'll all die." Then silence. Tomura Shigaraki, leader of the League of Villains, heir to All for One's power, was dead. Izuku collapsed from exhaustion. That fight had pushed him harder than anything before. Ryukyu and Mirko caught him, supporting his weight. "You did it," Ryukyu said softly. "We did it." Izuku corrected. Together. The PLF headquarters was secured. Thousands of villains captured or killed. The leadership eliminated. Shigaraki dead. But AFO's words lingered. "I'll return." Izuku knew the final battle was coming, the true confrontation with All for One himself, and he needed to be ready. The aftermath of the PLF raid was chaotic. Thousands of villains arrested, hundreds of heroes injured, dozens dead. Izuku had killed more people than anyone could count. The exact number was classified, but estimates suggested several hundred PLF members died by his hand. Public opinion was split as usual. Some hailed him as a hero who saved countless lives. Others condemned him as a murderer who went too far. Izuku ignored it all. He'd done what was necessary. Protected innocent people, eliminated threats. That was enough. 3 weeks after the raid, during his recovery, Izuku spent time studying his parents' grimoires more intently. He'd mastered 7 Dragon Slayer magics, could combine them in complex techniques, had defeated some of the strongest villains in Japan. But he felt there was still something missing. Another level of power he hadn't reached. In Acnologia's grimoire, he found a passage he'd overlooked before. When a Dragon Slayer masters all elements, they can achieve the ultimate form, Dragon King mode. The body becomes a perfect vessel for all draconic power. 7 becomes 1, 1 becomes infinite. Only those who've inherited the Dragon King's legacy can achieve this. Izuku read the passage repeatedly. Dragon King mode. All 7 elements merged into one perfect form. He'd been close during his fights with Shigaraki and AFO, but he hadn't fully transformed, hadn't unlocked the complete power. He needed to train more, push further, break through the final barrier. Ryukyu found him on the training ground days later, attempting the transformation. His body was covered in scales of all 7 colors. Power radiated from him in waves. But the transformation wasn't stable. It flickered, partial, incomplete. "You're trying to force it," Ryukyu observed. "I can feel it's there," Izuku said, frustrated. "Just out of reach. I need more power, more control." "Power isn't your problem. You have more than enough. It's understanding. You're treating the 7 elements as separate powers to combine. but Dragon King mode requires seeing them as one unified whole. Izuku looked at her. How do you know? I've been studying dragon lore, trying to understand my own dragon blood. The Dragon Kings of legend didn't use individual elements. They embodied all elements simultaneously. They were fire and iron and sky and lightning all at once, not one after another. So I need to stop switching between elements and just be all of them? Exactly. Izuku sat down, closing his eyes. Instead of activating Dragon Force and cycling through elements, he tried to feel all 7 at once. Fire's heat, iron's strength, sky's freedom, lightning's speed, white's purity, shadow's mystery, poison's corruption, all 7 Dragon Slayer magics existing simultaneously in his body. It was hard. His magical core wanted to focus on one element at a time, but he pushed through, forcing all 7 to activate together. Something clicked. Power erupted from Izuku in an explosion that created a crater 50 meters wide. When the energy cleared, he stood transformed. This wasn't Dragon Force. This was something beyond. His body had grown slightly, muscles more defined. Dragon scales covered his entire body, but instead of being one color, each scale shifted through all 7 colors in constant flux. Red, silver, blue, gold, white, black, purple, cycling endlessly. His wings were massive, each feather-like protrusion containing a different element. Fire on the right, shadow on the left, the others distributed throughout. His eyes glowed with 7-colored light. His hair had streaks of all 7 elemental colors. His aura was visible even to non-magic users, a swirling corona of rainbow energy that cracked reality itself. Dragon King mode, Izuku breathed. His voice resonated with power, layered as if 7 dragons spoke at once. Ryukyu stared in awe. You did it. Izuku looked at his hands. Power beyond anything he'd felt before coursed through him. In this form, he didn't need to choose elements or combine techniques. He simply was all elements. He threw a casual punch. The attack contained fire, lightning, poison, holy light, shadow, iron hardness, and sky wind all simultaneously. The resulting explosion obliterated a mountain in the distance. Whoa, Izuku said, awed by his own power. This is insane. He flew faster than ever before, moved through shadows while wreathed in holy light, attacked with toxic flames and electrified iron fists. Every technique he'd learned, every combination, every secret art, all available instantly without switching between modes. This was the power of a Dragon King, the ultimate evolution of a Dragon Slayer. After an hour of testing, Izuku powered down. The transformation released, he returned to normal. He was exhausted but exhilarated. That's the form I need for AFO, he said. When he returns, I'll be ready. Ryukyu hugged him tightly. You're incredible, but promise me you'll be careful. That much power, it's dangerous. I promise. I'm not fighting alone anyway. I've got you and Mirko. We'll face whatever comes together. She smiled and kissed him. Together. 2 months of preparation followed. Izuku trained daily, perfecting Dragon King mode. The transformation became easier, more stable, lasting longer. He discovered he could use techniques from his parents' grimoires that were previously impossible, attacks that required all elements simultaneously, secret arts that only Dragon Kings could perform. From Irene's grimoire, he learned about Universe 1, the ability to reshape reality and geography. It was incredibly advanced magic, requiring precise control and enormous power. He practiced in controlled environments, learning to warp small areas, create enclosed spaces, manipulate terrain. It would be perfect for trapping AFO when the time came. He also spent time with Eri, Ryukyu, and Mirko, his family in all but legal name. After this is over, Mirko said one night while they relaxed together, we're getting married. All 3 of us. Official ceremony, rings, the whole thing. Agreed, Ryukyu said. I want to make this permanent. Izuku smiled. Yeah, I want that too. But first I need to finish what my parents started. What do you mean? Ryukyu asked. All for one. He's the embodiment of everything my parents fought against. Acnologia became a monster trying to eliminate dragons who abused power. Irene was corrupted trying to protect humanity from dragon threat. AFO is both, a human who steals power and corrupts others. If I can stop him, I can prove that their legacy wasn't just destruction, that from their darkness, something good emerged. Both women hugged him. You already proved that, Mirko said. You're the best of both of them. Power without corruption, strength used to protect. You're what they could have been if circumstances were different. Izuku felt warmth in his chest. Love, belonging, purpose. He would defeat All for One. End the threat once and for all. Then he'd marry these two amazing women and build the life his parents never got to have. The final war began 6 weeks later. All for One broke out of prison. The facility's defenses, designed to hold the most dangerous villain in history, failed against his accumulated quirks. He emerged with a new body, regenerated, enhanced, more powerful than ever, and he declared war on Hero Society. Not a secret plan, not a hidden scheme. Open, direct war. He gathered every villain who'd ever resented heroes, every criminal with a grudge, every person who'd been failed by the system. Thousands rallied to him. AFO created multiple fronts across Japan, attacking cities simultaneously. The Hero Public Safety Commission mobilized everything, every hero agency, every student above first year, everyone who could fight. This was it, the final battle between heroism and villainy. Izuku stood at the main battlefield with Ryukyu and Mirko beside him. "You ready?" Mirko asked, her usual grin replaced with grim determination. "Yeah," Izuku said. "I'm all fired up." Ryukyu took his hand. "Whatever happens, we face it together." Together, all three said. The battle began. AFO's forces attacked in waves, thousands of villains supported by Nomu, artificially enhanced monsters with multiple quirks. The heroes met them head-on. Izuku didn't waste time with the fodder. He ascended directly to Dragon King mode. His transformation alone created a shockwave that knocked back hundreds of approaching villains. Dragon King's apocalypse roar. The technique combined all 7 Dragon Slayer elements into one massive breath attack. Fire, lightning, iron shards, wind, poison, holy light, and consuming shadows spiraled together into a beam of pure destruction. The attack carved through the villain army like a blade through paper. Hundreds died instantly, thousands retreated in terror. Izuku flew across the battlefield, devastating everything in his path. Dragon King's 7-star fist. Each punch contained all 7 elements. Villains who were hit didn't just die, they were obliterated. Dragon King's elemental storm. He created a massive area attack, a storm containing fire tornadoes, lightning strikes, poison rain, shadow tentacles, iron shards, sky wind, and holy light. Everything within a kilometer radius was destroyed. The other heroes watched in awe and fear. Izuku wasn't just powerful, he was beyond comprehension. Nomu attacked him. Dozens of enhanced monsters designed to fight top heroes. He killed them all within minutes. Dragon Slayer's secret art, Crimson Lotus Dragon King's sword. A massive blade formed from all 7 elements. He swung it once. 15 Nomu were cut in half, but this was just the prelude. AFO himself emerged from the chaos, flying through the air, radiating malevolent power. Dragon Hero. AFO's voice boomed across the battlefield. "Finally, you face me at full power. Let's see if you can survive." AFO unleashed dozens of quirks simultaneously. Air pressure blasts that could level cities. Energy beams that could vaporize steel. Force fields that could repel nuclear weapons. Izuku met each attack head-on. Dragon King's ultimate defense. All 7 elements formed a layered barrier. The attack couldn't penetrate. Dragon King's counterattack. He returned AFO's energy, amplified through dragon magic. They clashed in the sky above the battlefield. 2 absolute powerhouses trading blows that shook the earth. AFO used quirks Izuku had never seen: time manipulation, space warping, reality bending. Izuku responded with pure magical power. Lightning Fire Dragon King's Demolition Fist. Poison Shadow Dragon King's Toxic Knight. Holy Iron Dragon King's Purifying Lance. Each attack showcased combinations of elements that shouldn't be possible. Magic that defied the laws of the quirk-based world. AFO began to realize he was losing. His quirks, powerful as they were, followed rules, laws of physics and biology. Izuku's magic didn't. It was fundamental force from another world entirely. "Impossible," AFO gasped, bleeding from dozens of wounds. "I've accumulated quirks for 2 centuries. I should be unbeatable." "You're not fighting quirks," Izuku said, his 7-colored eyes blazing. "You're fighting a Dragon King, the last legacy of a world that devoured gods and dragons alike. Your quirks mean nothing against magic from a dead universe." He gathered power for his ultimate technique, the one attack that combined everything, all 7 Dragon Slayer magics, all his parents' legacy, all his training and growth. But AFO had one last trick. He activated a quirk that swapped locations, teleporting himself far from the battlefield while leaving a duplicate behind. Izuku destroyed the duplicate with his prepared attack, then realized he'd been deceived. Clever, Izuku admitted, but you're not getting away. He remembered Irene's ability, Universe 1. He activated the magic, and reality bent to his will. The entire battlefield warped. Geography shifted, space folded. AFO found himself trapped in an enclosed arena, a perfect sphere of hardened reality, impossible to escape. Izuku was inside with him. No more running, Izuku said. This ends here. AFO attacked desperately, using every quirk, every technique, every power he'd stolen over 2 centuries. Izuku overwhelmed it all. Dragon King's 7 Elements Fusion, Apocalypse Judgment. The ultimate technique. All 7 Dragon Slayer magics merged into one perfect attack. Not a beam or punch or slash, but pure magical annihilation. The attack manifested as a swirling sphere of 7-colored energy that expanded outward, consuming everything in its path. AFO tried to defend, used every defensive quirk, every regeneration, every power. None of it worked. The magic didn't just destroy his body, it erased his existence. Quirks that had been stolen over centuries were freed, returning to wherever they'd come from. AFO's consciousness was scattered, unable to reform. His vestige, his will, his very essence was obliterated. All for one, the symbol of evil, the immortal devil, the greatest villain in history, was dead. Truly, permanently, completely dead. The sphere of energy dissipated. Izuku stood alone in the center of the arena, breathing hard. He'd won. He released Universe 1. Reality returned to normal. The battlefield came back into focus. Every hero and villain had stopped fighting, staring at the sky where AFO had been. Izuku descended slowly, returning to the ground. The remaining villains, seeing their leader destroyed, surrendered or fled. The war was over. Izuku powered down from Dragon King mode, exhaustion finally catching up. He stumbled. Ryukyu and Mirko caught him. "You did it," Ryukyu whispered, tears streaming down her face. "We did it," Izuku corrected, managing a tired smile. "All of us." Together. The 3 of them embraced as the sun rose over the battlefield, casting light on the dawn of a new era. An era without All for One. An era where heroes had truly won. 3 years later, Japan had rebuilt, crime rates were at historic lows, the hero system had evolved, becoming more effective and less corrupt. And Izuku Dragneel stood at the altar, waiting. The wedding venue was beautiful, an outdoor ceremony on a mountain overlooking the ocean. The weather was perfect, courtesy of Sky Dragon magic ensuring no rain. Every hero Izuku had worked with attended. His classmates from UA, now professional heroes themselves. Endeavor, who'd grudgingly admitted respect for the Dragon King. All Might in his skeletal form, tears of joy in his eyes. Nezu, looking immensely pleased with himself. Eri sat in the front row, now 9 years old, smiling brightly. She'd become Izuku's ward officially, and she called him Big Brother. The ceremony began. Ryukyu walked down the aisle first, stunning in a white dress with dragon scale patterns. Her dragon blood made her literally glow with inner light. Mirko followed, beautiful in a dress that somehow maintained her fierce energy despite being elegant. Her rabbit ears twitched with barely contained excitement. They reached the altar where Izuku waited, wearing a formal suit that he'd complained about for weeks. "Why can't I just wear my normal clothes? Because it's your wedding, you fire-breathing idiot." The officiant, surprisingly, it was Aizawa, who'd gotten certified specifically for this, began the ceremony. "We're here to witness something unusual," Aizawa said dryly. "A polyamorous marriage between 3 of the strongest people in Japan. I've given up trying to understand how Dragneel's life works. So let's just get to the vows." The crowd laughed. Izuku spoke first, looking at Ryukyu. "I hatched alone in a dead world. My parents were gone. I had grimoires but no guidance. You were the first person to see me as more than a weapon or a monster. You understood my dragon nature because you carry dragon blood yourself. You taught me I wasn't alone. I promised to protect you, cherish you, and love you for as long as I exist." Ryukyu's eyes filled with tears. "I've always felt incomplete. My quirk made me dragon-like, but not truly dragon. You showed me what I could be. You helped me embrace my nature fully. I promise to stand beside you always, to support your strength and challenge your recklessness." They exchanged rings, custom-made, each containing a small scale from Izuku's dragon form. Then Izuku turned to Mirko. "You were the first person who wanted to fight me, not because they feared me, but because fighting is joy. You match my battle lust. You never asked me to be gentler or hold back. You wanted me exactly as I am, loud, hot-headed, and always looking for the next fight. I promise to be your partner in battle and in life, to keep fighting beside you forever." Mirko grinned fiercely, tears threatening to ruin her makeup. "You're the only person who can match me. Strength, speed, spirit, you've got it all. You never treated me like I was too aggressive or too violent. You appreciated my nature. I promise to fight for you, fight with you, and love you with everything I am." They exchanged rings, identical to Ryukyu's, containing Izuku's scales, the officiant concluded. "By the power vested in me by the Hiro Public Safety Commission, who probably regrets giving me this authority, I pronounce you married. You may kiss." Izuku kissed Ryukyu first, gentle and loving. Then Mirko, passionate and fierce. The crowd erupted in applause. As they walked back down the aisle together, husband and two wives, three warriors, three dragons in spirit, if not always in form, Izuku felt complete. The reception was chaotic and joyful. Speeches from friends, embarrassing stories from classmates, Endeavor getting drunk and challenging Izuku to a rematch, which was politely declined. As the sun set, Izuku stood apart with his wives, looking at the ocean. "I've been thinking," he said, "about my parents, about their legacy." "What about it?" Ryukyu asked. "They started as heroes, became monsters, died trying to create something better. I want to honor the hero part, the part of them that protected people. I want our children, if we have them, to inherit strength used for good, dragon power without corruption." "You already do that," Mirko said. "You're what they should have been." Izuku smiled. He looked up at the stars where his parents' spirits might exist. "Mom, Dad," he said softly, "I made it. I'm not the last dragon anymore. I'm the first of something new. A dragon who protects instead of destroys. I hope that makes you proud." A shooting star streaked across the sky. Probably coincidence, but Izuku chose to believe it was their answer. Ryukyu touched his shoulder. "Ready to go? Our honeymoon awaits. Where are we going anyway? Somewhere with strong opponents to fight." Mirko said excitedly. Izuku laughed. Of course, his wives would plan a combat-oriented honeymoon. They left together, three powerful beings united by love and battle lust and understanding. Behind them, the party continued. Their friends celebrated. The world moved on. And Izuku Dragneel, the Dragon King, the last dragon from a dead world, the first legend of a new one, walked toward his future with his wives beside him. His parents' story had ended in tragedy. His was just beginning, and he was all fired up for whatever came next. The end.
And now, it's time for our Patreon shout-out. For our pro-hero tier, the rising stars lighting the path of justice, Ancient Chant and Javon McQuire. And for our mighty symbol of peace tier, Ab, Peter Hamilton, Freddie Rose, Omega, Toxic Rune, Akuma Noakami, Chris Talley, Ethe Voice, Alexander Thompson, Remorsefuls, Blackvein, Nicholas Barnes, Joshua Hedrington, Aaron Abercrombie, Drift SK Eater, Akeno Himajima, Corey Tokars, Jan, Zero Hope 3656, Devin Black, Rowdy Rich, King of the Pirates, Crow, Daniel Sharp, Roberto Ramos de Cristina, Dasher Games, Joe Bros, Aiden Schmidt, Mason Edwards, Ray Von Crimson River, Dante Alistar, Adam Yonkers, Blood Saints, Zdana Cathay, Zeph, Assassin 24, Howie 60, Ignacio, Albert, Carlos Terry, Rafael Tehran, Kevin Hall, Omar Cousin. You're the ones who keep the fire of justice blazing.
And finally, our Hope of the Universe tier. Marl, Spintown, Jaden Garrett, Greg Green, James, Quanyan Thompson, Big Fro Pro, Juan, I'm Calver, Colsey. You're the legends who stand above all, the shining hope that guides every hero onward.
And that's how a real Dragon Slayer fights. I told you I'd burn through everything in my path. This is just the beginning. I've got more battles to fight, more power to unlock, and villains who need to learn what true strength looks like. If you're fired up and want to see me dominate more threats, hit that subscribe button. Don't make me hunt you down. See you in the next fight.